Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Commentary Hub. My name is Trevor Sports. You may know me by other names, but very much is myself. I'm here today to present to you a brilliant third round tie in the FA Cup. We're going to be live this evening from the City Ground in Nottingham, just over the road from the River Trent. Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal. That great old famous FA Cup rivalry that has taken place over the years. In fact, in the head-to-head record between these two sides in the FA Cup, they're two apiece. So this could be the rubber that decides them. And in previous meetings between both these sides, well, the last time that Arsenal failed to get through Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup, that was their previous meeting in 2018. A famous 4-2 win for then. We're hoping today we may be able to see something different and something more exciting as we move on. This promises to be a game which should be rather intriguing and a brilliant way to round up the evening's entertainment. But they've not left me on my own. Look at this. I've got lots of people to talk to. Very shortly, we're going to be going over to the draw for the fourth round of the FA Cup. Your match commentary team tonight will be Paul James and John Stutter will be coming with us, and they'll be in with us just before kickoff. We're also going to be going through the team news before we do. To do that, I'm going to hand over to my main man that knows all about the two team lineups today, and that's Russ Vernon.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the coverage of the FA Cup. Starting off with some of the big important team news for Nottingham Forest fans, if you're listening to our coverage today, is that there's debutants for Nottingham Forest, two recent signings in Keenan Davis and Steve Cook, as Ryan Yates also returns to the starting lineup. As for Arsenal, Berlino makes a rare start in goal. There's the Conga Patino in the midfield area this afternoon. Charles Patino, you may remember him from the game against Sunderland in the Carabao Cup. And Eddie Nketiah leads the line today as well. Bit of team news for Arsenal. You may notice I've not mentioned in the team news about Granit Xhaka or Emil Smith-Rowe. They're both not involved today. They're both tested positive for the COVID-19 virus and will miss out on the clash against Nottingham Forest at the City Ground this afternoon. That is the big team news, and we're getting ready for the FA Cup draw, which will be coming up very shortly, Trevor.
Brilliant. There you go. So, a couple of important points to remember with the Nottingham Forest today. Debuts today for Keenan Davis and Steve Cook, that's both been signed over. And the Nottingham Forest head coach, as I should say, Steve Cooper, has come in. And a real brilliant statistic in the beginning of, when we're looking at the beginning of autumn, both these sides bottom of their respective leagues. And here they are completely up on the climb. It has been a remarkable rise for both these sides. But as for their cup hopes, that all threads on the next 90 to 120 minutes. If there's no result the end of 90, we will go to extra time. No result from that, the dreaded penalty shootouts. As for this, it's time for us to head over and find out who's going to be playing whom in the fourth round draw. So once again, I'm going to come around with my little spy that's able to get himself all the way in to Wembley, and he's going to very sneakily tell us what's going on. Russ, over to you for the draw.
Just going through last formalities, just getting for the draw for the FA Cup fourth round ties, which are played at the beginning of February, the Friday the 4th to Monday the 7th of February, and the winning club from that stage of the competition will pick up £90,000 from the competition prize fund. Some numbers to look out for. Number 5 is Chelsea. Number 6 is Liverpool after they progressed against Shrewsbury Town earlier this afternoon. Stoke City, they progressed earlier as well. They've got ball number 3. Cardiff or Preston were playing last time. I had to check on how they were getting on in their FA Cup match. They are ball number 7 in the draw for the FA Cup this afternoon. That game is now finishing. Cardiff have progressed after extra time. So their ball number 7, they've won by 2-1 this afternoon. Number 8 is Coventry City. The balls go into the bag. We'll go through all the numbers for you in a second or so, as the team balls get pulled out of the hat. So first ball is about to be pulled out now. It is ball number 18, which is Crystal Palace, who progressed yesterday in our 1.5 matches against Millwall. They're taking on number 14, Peterborough United, who proved a cup shock yesterday as well. Number 2 is AFC Bournemouth, who didn't cause an upset as they knocked out Yeovil. They're taking on number 1, which is Boreham Wood, who knocked out AFC Wimbledon yesterday. Brilliant tie for them. Non-league side of Boreham Wood. Number 9 is Huddersfield Town, who got past Burnley yesterday afternoon. Number 27, and they're at home to Barnsley. All Championship affair. Number 28 is Peterborough United, who knocked out Bristol Rovers yesterday. They're taking on number 30, Queen's Park Rangers, who knocked out Rotherham United on penalties. Number 26 is Cambridge United. They take on number 22, Luton Town, who demolished Harrogate Town by 4-0 earlier today. Number 4 is Southampton from the Premier League, starting to climb up the table a little bit. They're taking on number 8, Coventry City of the Championship. Number 5, Chelsea, who hit 5 yesterday against Chesterfield in the game which we brought you on the commentary hub. They're playing number 23, Plymouth Argyle, who knocked out Birmingham City yesterday, so a League One side now for Chelsea. Number 15 is Everton, struggling recently in the Premier League under Rafa Benitez. And they're taking on number 19, another struggling side in the Premier League, Brentford. It's an old Premier League affair. Number 11 is Kidderminster Harriers, who knocked out Reading yesterday. Brilliant result for them yesterday. And have they got a brilliant tie? They've got 29, West Ham United. Brilliant tie. West Ham just beat Leeds United by 2-0 earlier. Controversial goal in that one. Number 24, Manchester United Aston Villa, which is played tomorrow, which you can hear on the TC Hub. The winners of that tie will play Middlesbrough at home in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Number 17 is Tottenham Hotspur, who overcome what look like to be a scare as they come back to be Morecambe earlier. They take on number 10, Brighton and Hove Albion. Number 6 is Liverpool, who overcome another scare against Shrewsbury Town earlier this afternoon to progress. They take on number 7, Cardiff City, who progressed after extra time against Preston North End today. Number 3, Stoke City, who went through earlier against Leyton Orient. They will play number 21, Wigan Athletic, who knocked out Blackburn Rovers yesterday. Number 32, Nottingham Forest or Arsenal. So the winners of this tie have got an home draw. We're going to play slow. Is number 12, Leicester City. So it could be a Midlands derby in the 4th round should Nottingham Forest get through. Number 20, Manchester City, who have done fairly well in recent weeks under Pep Guardiola, progressed beating Shrewsbury Town on Friday evening. They're taking on Fulham, who were relegated from the Premier League last season. Last 2 balls now. Number 25, Wolverhampton Wanderers have got an home draw. And they're taking on number 31, Norwich City. So an all Premier League affair there. As I said, ties will be played on the week commencing. Ties will be played between the weekend of the Friday the 4th and Monday the 7th of February.
Thank you very much, Russ. There you go. That is the full draw for the fourth round of the FA Cup. And with no replays in place, we will know the full results as they come through and as they take place. It's an interesting draw. I'm going to bring in a colleague. I'm going to bring in Kieran Riley for his feedback on what he makes of the draw. Kieran, what have you made of that fourth round draw?
Well, to be fair, it was interesting draw. Kidderminster get West Ham. To be honest, I was hoping that we'd end up pulling them out. I was hoping a nice little trip down the road to Kidder because it's only 20 minutes, but they've got West Ham. That'll be a tough draw for them. Not gonna lie, but they did it last time, so you never know, they could do it again. But Norwich for us, that's gonna be a tough game. I think Norwich will put out their strongest team just to beat us and just to rub it in. Because Dean Smith is obviously looking for revenge after we smashed his old Villa side at Villa Park. So it's few interesting draws there. Few Premier League ties, which means weeds out the Premier League teams. I'm hoping Kidderminster do beat West Ham. That'll be a nice little shock to the tournament, them progressing even further. But Norwich, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I'll let you know.
No worries. Thank you very much. The lives of a Wolves fan in the draw for the FA Cup. One thing that you can definitely say, looking at the cup draw as well, there are some good ties there, but there's no outstanding big sort of juggernaut battles yet. And in the way this cup goes, we're going to see those start to appear further and further along. A few ties for me, which I think stood up and looked to be good fun. For us as well. The winner of tonight's tie, we know, will go play Leicester at home. What an incentive that's going to be today. Just before we hand over to our match commentary regime and get you set, as we know, the City ground itself is just getting yourselves prepped. I'm just going to run through some full-time results today to give you a heads up of what's gone on. I shall do my best Tim Gudgeon impression while I do this. Luton were 4-0 winners at home to Harrogate. In the third round, Cardiff City were able to overcome Preston North End 2-1 after extra time. Charlton Athletic, well, they went down 1-0 to Norwich. As we know, they've qualified through. Norwich are through. Charlton are out. Liverpool 4-1 winners against Shrewsbury. However, Shrewsbury did take the lead in that game and forced Liverpool to really pull up their socks and get stuck in. Stoke City, 2-0 winners at home to Leyton Orient. So the O's have got a nice journey back down to East London from that. Tottenham were 3-1 winners at Morecambe. Wasn't looking likely at one point. Had to come in and score late, but still at the end of the day were able to do so. West Ham United were winners 2-0 over Leeds, although controversy remains over West Ham United's first goal. And Wolverhampton Wanderers were able to beat Sheffield United 3-0 at Molineux. So we are waiting for just 2 results left to determine this year's FA Cup. Now, in a couple of points to point out in this to them, and a couple of statistics, particularly if you're an Arsenal fan, you may want to look out for in this game. Arsenal have been able to win the FA Cup on successful years. They've beaten Nottingham Forest. In February 1979, Arsenal won 1-0 and went on to have that famous 5-minute final against Manchester United. And in February 93, Arsenal were 2-0 winners against Nottingham Forest, and they went on to win the cup after extra time and in a replay against Sheffield Wednesday. Indeed, that was the last FA Cup final replay that ever took place. As I said, Forest's last win over Arsenal came in their penultimate meeting, but however, that has to be said that in the last meeting in the League Cup, Arsenal were completely dominant. The record between these two sides is set as 27 wins for Forest, 51 wins for Arsenal, and 23 draws, but their FA Cup record is 2 apiece. So this is to be the key factor that's going to separate the two teams today. When you look at the overall structure and what we're expecting today, you will notice that this is an alternative version of commentary. So one thing we'd advise you to do is make sure you've got your TV on. Go pop that little mute button. Go ahead and stick the volume up on your YouTube button. Go click us with a little gimmick that you can do so. And come listen to us because we're going to provide you alternative of audio commentary, and we're going to complement what you're going to see on the television. But what I would like to say, if it does go to the break and you see Mark Pugash, I'm absolutely miles better looking than him. So don't let that fool you. We do have a crackpot of pundits that we're going to be referring to as the game goes on today. So it should be really exciting for us as the game goes on. So Forest versus Arsenal. There's so much history that you can say between these both sides. Arsenal in particular, we know in the FA Cup, in the last 8 years, they've won 4 of them. So no team is more successful and more informed for the FA Cup. Yet at the beginning of this draw, when it was made back in December, you wouldn't have put Arsenal as a potential favourite. Yet they could be coming through as real underdogs. As for Nottingham Forest, we know what they're capable on their day. The question is, are they going to go and be able and produce it when it matters? For us here on the Commentary Hub, this is not the last bit of commentary that you're going to see from us. We're going to be back tomorrow evening, where we've got the big one at Old Trafford between Manchester United and Aston Villa. And for that, I've got to go leave my comfortable studio here in Trevor Vision Centre and make my way up the M6 to sit in the gantry at Old Trafford to bring you alternative commentary for that. So we really hope that you'll be there to join us for that. The game today, I know our commentary team's just getting set, and you'll be listening to Paul James, but first you'll be listening to John Stoddard very shortly to take you through the game as it runs through. It could be one of those games that could be an absolute classic. I'm sure some of you may have watched the Everton Hull game last night. It's one of the best third-round cup games that we have seen for many a year. Here in the City ground this evening, the two sides have been confirmed through. Steve Cooper and Mikel Arteta have got through. Steve Cooper blessed with 2 players able to join his lineup. That's Keenan Danis and Steve Cook. Mikel Arteta sadly lost 2 players, both testing positive for COVID, and we'll have more information to confirm that through to you later. So if you are watching this and you are listening to us, welcome to the Commentary Hub. Welcome to live coverage here. You're going to be watching Arsenal wearing a special all-white kit to go highlight the horrible dangers of knife crime that's been taking place in the Greater London area to line up to this. As for us, well, we're going to be with you whatever happens. A reminder that if this game does finish level after 90 minutes, we will be heading to extra time. And if there's no result after that, a penalty competition will be settling this. So my advice, get yourself a cup of tea, get your feet up, stand by to enjoy what could be a thrilling contest. Let's go ahead and leave you in the company of a match commentary team, Paul James. But first, John Stoddard.
And thank you very much, Trevor. And you took half my stats away from me. I painstakingly warmed down. But what I can tell you, thank you, Trevor. What I can tell you that Nottingham Forest, who they've not won the FA Cup. They didn't win the cup when they were managed by Brian Clough, incidentally. 1959, you have to go back to the last time Nottingham Forest won the famous old cup. They've won everything else since: 2 European Cups, a League Championship, and 4 Carabao or League Cups in these times. But, well, the FA Cup is a trophy that eluded Brian Clough on many, many occasions during his 18 years here, and how he'd love to be here at the City Ground tonight. Well, you've not got one of Burnley's finest, you've got 2. Because I've got Paul James alongside me at the City Ground. Paul, it's one of those days really where you really do need the thermals. It's absolutely sub-zero out there.
Yeah, it's very cold today, JB. And let's be honest, this is going to be a very interesting game. Nottingham Forest, yes, they're a lot more modest now than the heady days under Brian Clough. But this is a dangerous team. They're chasing the playoffs in the Championship. They're in 9th position there. And they could upset the apple cart today. Arsenal, of course, need no introduction. Record winners of the FA Cup 14 times and 7 in the last 2 decades alone.
Absolutely, they are the kings when it comes to cup football. Arsenal haven't won the league actually since the invincible season of 2004, incidentally. I know that's something that the supporters crave. They want to get into the top 4. They are in the top 4 right now, but they've got West Ham and of course they've got Tottenham breathing down the next. Tottenham, as you heard from Trev, won very well in the end against a very plucky Morecambe side, 3-1. Morecambe led until the last 20 minutes of that game, and Liverpool needed a bit of a pick-me-up against Shrewsbury. So we could have seen 2 high-profile casualties. As for Burnley, I'm not going to talk about them. Neither is Paul. There's been an agreement before the start that we're not going to talk about their limp display against Huddersfield. And credit to Huddersfield, they deserve to be in the 4th hat for the 4th round, which has been drawn. And the reward for these 2 sides tonight, as the teams make their way out here to thunderous applause here at the City Ground, the reward is a home match with Leicester City And, great incentive. Firstly, more so what you would think for Nottingham Forest because the locality, and B, an opportunity to really test themselves against the cup holders, Paul.
Oh yeah, so I mean, this is going to be something that Nottingham Forest want. A Midlands derby. This is going to be huge for them. For Arsenal, this is going to be an opportunity at redemption if they get through as well. Arsenal are going to want to try to make inroads into this competition. This is another opportunity for Arsenal to. They're also in the League Cup right now in the challenge for that. So this is another opportunity for them to try to add perhaps a domestic double.
Well, let's see. Well, Arsenal haven't started their two-legged cup semi-final. They should have played on Thursday, and that was a game that was due to be covered by the TC Hub and all platforms. But unfortunately, that got scrapped because of the COVID cases in the Liverpool camp. They did put out a side today, which was good enough to get past against Shrewsbury. Let me give you the two teams before kick-off then. Let's start with Nottingham Forest. They're playing in a 4-3-3 formation. So it looks as if Steve Cooper, the manager, is going to go all out attacking. So it's Bryce Samba in goal, Joe Wallow, Steve Cook, and Scott McKenna are the back three. So it's not a back three as I thought it would be. And then it's Jed Sponge, or Spence rather, James Garner, Ryan Yates, and Jack Colback. You may remember of Sunderland and Newcastle fame. Then it's Brennan Johnson, Philip Zanagal. I do apologise about the mispronunciation. And Keenan Davis, formerly on the books of Aston Villa, up front. I'll run you through the subs as and when we go. Arsenal's 11 quickly. Bernd Leno is in goal as preferred to Aaron Ramsdale, who sits on the bench. Cedric, White, Holding, and Tavares are the back four. And then it's Sambia Longa and Charlie Patino, number 87, a young Englishman, given his opportunity to shine for Arteta's men. But they do have familiar names further forward, like Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard and Gabriel Martinelli, who's been in good form. Eddie Nketiah gets the strike force, gets the main striking spot. The officials tonight, the referee, no VAR incidentally, so we can not talk VAR tonight, Paul, which is quite nice. The referee tonight is Craig Pawson from Yorkshire. And the two assistants is Dan Cook and James Mannering. Don't tell them, Pike. Kevin Friends, the fourth official, and Steve Cooper there. Now you may know the name Cooper. Now his father is actually the former referee Keith Cooper, the Pontypridd referee, and Arsenal are wearing white shirts, which is going to be really difficult for commentators because they haven't got black numbers on the back, which is going to make identification a little bit tricky tonight. So I understand the reasons as to why they're wearing them. It's just very difficult for commentators, certainly watching from afar here at the City Ground. So the referee blows his whistle, and the players in just a second will take the knee to highlight that there is no room for racism in any walk of life, let alone football. And then on the second whistle, we'll be up and running. It's Nottingham Forest to get us underway. The ball's not really on the centre spot, but that doesn't matter. One shot. So it's Nottingham Forest in the red shirts, white shorts, getting us up and underway. And it's Arsenal only wine, as I say. It's sort of in a protest against knife crime that's been very rife in that part of London for so many years. Well, let's hope we can identify these Arsenal players. It's going to be a tricky old test today, especially when we've got a few unknown quantities in that Arsenal lineup as well. I must admit, some of them I'll be commentating for the very first time. Number 20 there battling for the ball is Nuno Tavares. He plays at left back. And in fact, Forest get the first throw in. They're quite easy to identify. Spence will take the throw on their right-hand side and halfway. Last time these two sides met in the FA Cup, 2018. Arsene Wenger's only defeat in the third round in his whole time at Arsenal. Before then, he'd been knocked out. The earliest he'd been knocked out before then was the fourth round. He knocked out the fourth round a couple of times. Free kick to Arsenal on the near side. Let me just confirm those teams. Samba for these are the teams for Forest. It's a back three. Worrell's the captain. Cook and McKenna, they're the back three. So Spence, Garner, Yates, and Colback in the four-man midfield. And there's a front three of Johnson, Davis, and Zaginio. I do apologise about the pronunciation. It's the first time I've ever commentated on him. As Arsenal come streaming forward. They've got Leno in goal, as I say. And then it's Cedric White holding, the captain, who for the evening, and Tavares. Then it's Sambi Alonga and Patino. They're the two holding midfielders, incidentally, and Saka, Odegaard, and Martinelli are the front, further forward ones, and then Nketiah up front. And as Trevor said, there's a couple of Arsenal players that have gone down with COVID-19 and are self-isolated. As I said, we'll try and find that out for you during our broadcast. As Bryce Samba gets the first touch of the ball. Steve Cooper's red line 9th in the championship table and the ball out of play. So we've had 2 minutes here, and I should tell you that we're on TC Hub 2, JB Sports, JDAT Football, Storm FM, and Twitch. We're not on Periscope and we're not on Twitter anymore, just to let you know. It's just been a little bit feisty to start with. It's not really started. Well, I saw the game at Millwall yesterday. Thank God I didn't see the Burnley result. Burnley game yesterday. We saw that game at Millwall yesterday where it was a rip-roaring start, Paul. But so far in the opening couple of minutes, it's been anything but that so far.
Yeah, it's been a bit scrappy to start off with, but it's a cup tie. You kind of expect that. For Nottingham Forest, I think they just kind of need to settle down and just get their foot on the ball and see how they go from there. But I think for Arsenal, it's the same thing. The game just needs to settle down. It's not really a rip-roaring start, but it's very scrappy to begin with.
Yes, and just as Paul was finishing his sentence there, Spence just for a second got free down that right-hand side, but couldn't keep it in play, and it's going to be Tavares to take it, number 20 there. I don't know why they've got white numbers on the back. It's so unidentified. And I understand the reasons as to why they're wearing these all-white kits, but just put some black on the back of your shirts and then just make it easy for identification purposes. Annoys commentators a little bit. Anyway, here's Steve Cook now, getting the ball back. A couple of familiar names on the Nottingham Forest bench. You may remember the likes of Gitan Bong and 1 or 2 others as well. The top scorer, incidentally, is Lewis Grabban with 10, and he's on the bench as Forest come forward again. This is number 9 now, Keenan Davis, the former Villa man. Played a good 1-2, and Forest are in behind, but out comes Leno very quickly like a flash of lightning. And just seen the first flash there, Paul, of what Nottingham Forest on their day. And we know Steve Cooper's a very well-respected manager, obviously one of the more respected and more better managers outside the Premier League. And I tell you what, his team put together a very good move, just overhit that final pass. But if it had just been a bit better, that final pass, we could have seen something special there from Forest.
Oh yeah, the ball through there, and excuse me, Bert Leno was out quickly for that, and he needed to be, because that would have been the first real opportunity of the game. Smart goalkeeping. Smart goalkeeping indeed, and of course his place has been. Well, his natural number 1 spot has been taken, of course, by Aaron Ramsdale. He's been in terrific form. Been lucky to cover Arsenal on several occasions where they've won big games. None more so than the North London derby early this season when they won 3-1. Saka has been fouled. So Arsenal get on with it straight away. I will try and make sure. This is Odegaard, and it's all about, at the moment, it's a bit of a guessing game here. At the moment, Ben White is on the ball now, and now Saka gets it out on the far side. Goes back inside once again to Sambi Alonga, and they start playing a little triangle passes, and Odegaard involved again. White gets it back, and Rob Holding now takes possession, and Arsenal now come forward. This is Tavares getting it forward, and Nketiah is the man up front, of course, and we've got Martinelli as well, tangling there with Spence, and it will be a throw-in to Nottingham Forest. On the near side, 5 minutes gone, well, coming up to 6 minutes gone, incidentally, on all TCL platforms. Just remind you about the cricket. Good result if you're an England fan. We drew the 4th test. Yes, we drew the 4th test in Sydney. The England batsmen held on and showed a bit of fight. England draw and no 5-0 whitewash. Sorry, Glenn McGrath, that's never going to happen now. So England have avoided a whitewash in the series by drawing that 4th test earlier today in Sydney. Back here in Nottingham, and a very cold and chilly Nottingham. How we'd love the weather from Sydney to come over here, Paul. It would be lovely, wouldn't it? Oh, it'd be nice to have a little bit of warmer weather. It's freezing right now. It
is absolutely freezing. Sub-zero temperatures, but hopefully white hot on the pitch. Anyway, 3 kick to Arsenal in a dangerous position. The likes of Ben White and And Rob Holding will be forward from the back. Holding is leading the side. Don't forget, Odegaard, who scored a cracking goal, you may remember, against Burnley. Terrific free kick, which really got Arsenal's season up and running at Turf 4. Here comes with a free kick into the penalty area. It might break to the far side. It will, and it will be Tavares, who's just gone to the left here slightly. Saka plays the ball in. Good football this from Arsenal. Shot comes in left-footed and just wide of Samba's post. And behind for a Nottingham Forest goal kick. It was Ben White, incidentally, the former Brighton defender that came forward. Nice little opening there for Arsenal.
Yeah, they're starting to settle down a bit at the Arsenal. They'll be patient. They don't need to kind of rush or to panic. They just need to kind of settle down. The important thing for Arsenal is not to concede an early goal.
Yeah, which they did against Forest when they last played each other in this competition, 4-2. Eric Lear scored a couple of goals. Ben Brereton Diaz, now with you know where, scoring a penalty, and forgetting who scored the fourth one. It wasn't Brereton, but they scored another penalty near the end. Gary Brazil was in charge that day, and it was Arsene Wenger's last cup tie as Arsenal manager because he retired at the end of the season. Guess who he beat 5-0 in his last home game?
I want to say it might be Nottingham Forest, but I might be wrong.
Well, they weren't in the Premier League. That's one thing. It was It was actually our team, Burnley. Funnily enough, we just qualified for Europe that year as well. That stumped you a bit there, didn't I, Paul? Anyway,
yes, you did. You got me there.
Yeah. Anyway, 0-0 here on the TC Amador platforms here. This penultimate tie of the weekend between Nottingham Forest and Arsenal. We've already brought you Manchester City's game on Friday. We brought you two yesterday. Here's Martinelli going forward for Arsenal. Nketiah now getting possession, has to turn away. Odegaard in a bit of space, number 8. I think I'm doing a manful job trying to keep with my identification of Arsenal players with no numbers on the back. Now I know how Scottish commentators felt for many years when Celtic didn't wear numbers on the back of their hoop shirts. Anyway, here come Arsenal once again. They're starting to get a bit more possession into the game so far. But Forest, Davis, and there's a bit of a set two there. Keenan Davis there, just a bit of pushing and shoving there. And there's a bit of needle here at this moment creeping into the game, Paul. And I think Craig Pawson at this point has to sort things out.
Yeah, he just wants to settle the two of them down. It's handbags at 10 paces. It's silly, really. But a quick word from the referee just to calm things down. He doesn't need to book anybody. Just stamp his authority on the game. Have a quick word. Calm it down.
Yeah, and just to confirm, just to go back to what Trevor was saying about the COVID-19 cases, I could confirm through Trevor himself down at Trevor Vision Centre that Smith Rowe and Granit Xhaka are out with the COVID-19, so that's got you up to date. Meanwhile, Saka on the far side for Arsenal, looking to break forward. He's got to pace Jack Cole back here, looking to get it forward, and what a good challenge that was by Spence. He's had a good first 9 or 10 minutes of this first half, and Spence coming at him. He beats Cedric there, and he goes down, but the referee says free kick. Yes, he does. I thought for a moment he wasn't going to blow, but I don't get these referees. Why do they have to wait an eternity before giving a decision? It looked a clear free kick to me. I'm just looking at the replay. Well, he's pushed him there, Cedric, for me. So Forest have a chance here, Paul.
Yeah. I agree with you about the referees. Certainly agree with you about the linesman and the offside rule in VAR as well. It's a bit preposterous, really. If it's offside or if it's a free kick, just call it. Don't wait.
Yeah, I must say that 5 times every game. I cover that, Paul. But thankfully, we haven't got VAR tonight, which is quite a blessing. And Trevor's got that problem tomorrow. And I don't envy him on that score. As the ball, that's a bit of a dodgy back pass there. And Arsenal have conceded a very cheap corner. It was Tavares playing the ball back, Paul. And in the end, on another day, that might have zoomed past Leno and into the back of the net. Poor play, really. Cheap corner.
Very poor. Very poor. He just launched it. It made it impossible, really, for Leno. He can't pick it up. He had to kind of knock it out of play. Very poor play. Again, they just need to settle down. He was under no pressure whatsoever, really.
Yes, and Garner's going to take it. McKenna and Cook are both forward from the back here for Forest. They're attacking the goal to my right. Arsenal the Trent in the first half as Garner's ball in there was hooked away by the Arsenal defence. I think the referee is blown for a bit of pushing and shoving and a free kick to Arsenal. But it is a bit chilly on the banks of the River Trent. But Arsenal attacking the Trent end in the first half. We've got the Brian Clough stand opposite us. We're sat in the main stand here. And of course, there's that. And then the away fans sat away to my right-hand side. Quite a number have travelled up from Arsenal. If Arsenal go out tonight, I can tell you that AFTV will be in meltdown. I used to say that a lot in the olden days when Arsenal weren't doing very, very well. 12 minutes gone then at the City Ground in Nottingham. FA Cup third round action, which got to be played to a finish today. Here's Martinelli cutting in from the left-hand side. Still has it. Uses... what a challenge that is from Spence. And he reckons it's a goal kick, but the referee figures it's a corner. And all of a sudden now it's to and fro. And let's see who got the final touch here. Let's have a look. Hard to say from that angle. I've got to be honest. I think a goal kick has been awarded, so he's given the Championship side the benefit of the doubt. But
looked like a corner to me.
Well, it's one of those. It's damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Patino certainly thought he'd won the corner. Here's Spence now. We've got away with it a little bit. Ball down towards number 20 here, which is Brennan Johnson. They have a good, young, exciting Forest side. Of course, like most Championship sides, have got to cut their cloth financially accordingly. But you look at what Steve Cooper did at Swansea, got them into the playoffs. And he's got them knife in the Championship. They've won 3 of their last 5, losing the last 2. Lost the last game 1-0 against Huddersfield Town, who ironically beat Burnley yesterday. So a bit of irony in that, I suppose. But they are a decent side, Forest. There's a few decent teams, few sleeping giants being welcome this season in the Championship.
Yeah, Steve Cooper's done an excellent job, hasn't he? Don't forget, Nottingham Forest's start to the season was poor. They struggled at the start, and he has kind of steadied that ship again and made them playoff competitive.
Absolutely. They couldn't buy a win under Chris Hughton. They couldn't buy a goal under Chris Hughton. And I remember one of our colleagues, if you're listening, Luke, I remember Luke Turton on the chat, actually, many times. We have a little private Facebook chat on the TC Hub, and Luke was moaning every weekend for Forest's inability to actually get a win. And then obviously it wasn't working under Hughton. But I think Steve Cooper whoever made that appointment deserves an Oscar for what they've done there at Forest, because they've noticed that they needed a change, and then they've just gone out there and got the right man. Obviously, Steve Cooper was always going to take note. There was always going to be notice. Of course, he got Swansea to those playoffs. Swansea were knocked out yesterday, of course, and that it was a travesty, really. There was no fans at the Liberty Stadium because in Wales they have different COVID restrictions, which restricts crowds from being in there, which is going to be disappointing when the Six Nations come around next month, because when you get a packed Millennium Stadium for a Welsh international, they are the most passionate rugby fans in the world. But that's it. Next to come in February. But it's here and now. And it's the FA Cup on the TC Hub and all the other channels. We've had a quarter of an hour gone here, all over the place. And don't forget, folks, if you are watching you are listening to us and you've got the TV down, as Trevor suggested at the start of the programme, at the top of the show, please send us a message. Please keep your comments clean. We still are at this late afternoon. We are very much a family programme, so keep your comments clean and tidy, and especially on JB Sports, where there's been 1 or 2 bad commenters. We do have up to 7 moderators at any one time. Let's not forget. So please keep your comments relevant to the football and to the FA Cup this weekend in particular. And we'll try and read a few of them out if we can throughout this evening. And we want you listeners to join in with the fun here across all TCM platforms. That goes for all the other channels on YouTube and Twitch, and the Twitch channel, of course, which brought you coverage of Chelsea Chesterfield yesterday. Anyway, here comes number 57, Charlie Patino. Looks a good player on the ball. Finds Martinelli in a bit of space. Can Arsenal break away? Cross comes in. Little deflection on it. That might just be a corner there to Arsenal. Indeed it is. He points for a corner. Arsenal now starting to get a grip on this game. Martinelli there with a deflected cross, which goes in now. Let's see how Forest go on these set plays. It's going to be a quarter then to Arsenal with 16 and a half minutes gone. Ben White has gone right in on goalkeeper Samba here. Joe Worrell tracking him every step of the way. They've gone short here, trying to catch Forest out if they can. And the ball played back. And then can they get a good ball in there? They can, but Samba out very smartly there and did very, very well. And they get Forest on their way again. And here we come up. Forest through the centre. That looked a foul to me. And the referee said no. Did look a foul unless he got the ball. But it, to me, Paul, looked like a challenge from behind. But Craig Pawson, for a second or two, thought he was going to blow up. But he told the Nottingham Forest player to get up.
Yeah, that looked like a foul to me. I agree with you, JB. And maybe the referee didn't have such a good view of it, but looking at that, it looked like he'd caught him there.
Well, I've just seen Craig Pawson's. There's been a close up on TV of Craig Pawson there, and it's and he's like sort of made a round shape to obviously refer to him getting the ball, so that must have been why. Here's Johnson now on the right-hand side. Cuts inside. Johnson with a decent-looking cross towards the back post, and Arsenal get it out, but not very far, though, because Forest are back at them, coming back at them with Spence on the right-hand side. And Forest now having a little bit of a go. Why not? It's an FA Cup game. Why not have a go? Yates back to Spence. Back inside again, and Yates again. Will he get the cross in this time from the right-hand side? Good football this from Forest. Very patient as well. Here's Yates again. Cross again once more. And he finds number 37, which is James Garner. And Forest now just retreating a bit backwards because Arsenal have practically brought everybody behind the ball. Here's Worrell now for Forest. 0-0 if you've just joined us on all TCL platforms. We're coming up to 18 and a half minutes gone. We have to have just to remind everybody who's not familiar, there has been some rule changes since all these COVID cancellations in the league. The FA, before Christmas, announced that for the rounds 3 and 4 of this season's cup competition, they are scrapping replays and it has to be decided on a day. So if it ends a draw after 90 minutes, no replay at the Emirates a week and a half from now. It's got to be decided either through extra time or penalties. So just to remind you, extra time and penalties will be necessary if it ends a draw after 90 minutes today. But we're a long way off that at the moment. We've only played just shy of 20 minutes. We've played 19 minutes, 9 minutes of the first half. And it's still Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0. Throw into Forest. Spence takes and another throw. So they go up the field some 20 yards and into the Arsenal half of the field on the right-hand side. There's Mikel Arteta. Throwing, arms folded. Got the coat on. Not as big as Arsene Wenger's coat used to be. He never used to zip it up, actually. But having said all that, he's done a remarkably good job when people were calling for his head after the first 3 games. Anyway, here comes Spence down that right-hand side for Forest. Here's Spence, and he lost the ball, and the ball is out of play. And he lost a boot as it happened. And a goal kick, I think, has been awarded to Arsenal, has it? Or is it a corner? Not quite sure, but one thing's for certain. Spence is now having to do up his bootlaces. But again, Forest having a lot of joy in this opening 20 minutes, Paul, on that right-hand channel.
Yeah, they're getting the ball down there a lot. They're causing Arsenal a little bit of discomfort. It's a free kick, actually. Free kick, to Forest. Carry on, Paul. Yeah, they're causing Arsenal a little bit of discomfort, but I honestly don't think either side here has really gotten hold of this game yet. I think both sides need to, or at least somebody needs to get control of this game. Well, let's see what Forest can do from this free kick on the right-hand side. Can Garner put in a very good performance? 1 goal now will like the blue touch paper. That's a poor free kick. It's feeble. Although, it just wasn't good enough from Garner there. The ball was clearly 10 yards back, and he had a lot of time to weigh that situation up. Forest get a throw, but that should have been a much better. And Steve Cooper knows it, Paul. Yeah, it's poor that. Straight into the one man. No excuse for that. You've got to get it over him or around him. Absolutely. Just like Erkwai Gundogan did at Swindon the other night. That was a really good free kick inside the goalkeeper's near post. And we brought that game with Mike Arneman on the TC Hub. Yesterday I was at Millwall for that feisty South London derby, which Palace came from behind to steal 2-1. And then Ross covered
A nice moment for Chesterfield. Scored at Chelsea yesterday, but they're on the wrong end, of course, of a 5-1 defeat at Chelsea. And here we are today in the penultimate of our 5-1 game. Of course, tomorrow with Trevor, he'll be up at Old Trafford, not at Trevor Vision Centre, as he keeps saying. We'll say it at the top of the show. He's at Old Trafford. That big one tomorrow between Manchester United and Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa. Here's Tavares now for Arsenal, going down the left-hand side. There might have been a flailing arm there by Ryan Yates, but the referee allowing it to go on. This is number 11 now, Zinganengo. I do apologise for the mispronunciation. It's a very hard name to pronounce, so I do apologise. Thank you, Steve Cooper, for putting him in the squad. Makes it so difficult. Anyway, Forest have it down the left-hand side. Colback has it, the former Sunderland player. Back inside now. Chances here. Shot comes in. Deflects, and it's going to deflect nicely into the path of Bernd Leno. But Forest just starting to move up the field a little bit territorially. So that'll give him a little bit of confidence going forward, Paul. But I do agree with you. It hasn't really come to the ball yet. We've had halfway through the first half. Nottingham Forest, nil, Arsenal nil.
Yeah, but Forest are doing very well. I have to say, this is a strong Arsenal team. So they're getting some joy down that right-hand side as well. And I think Steve Cooper will be hoping his Forest side can start to exploit it down that side.
Well, let's hope so. And they've had a lot of joy, as we were saying, on the right-hand side. But we've played 23 minutes. It's been a very sort of cagey sort of game. But as Paul was alluding to at the start, few moments in, it was always going to be a little bit on the scrappy side. It's a cup tie. It's going to be no quarter given. There's no doubt about that. Quarter given, I should say. Here's Worrell back to Sam, but so far what he's had to do, he's done very competently at the moment. The big Forest goalkeeper, and here go Forest again, and the ball not back once again to Bernd Leno, who made a nice little save earlier on. But, 1959, you have to go back for Forest winning it. They beat Luton Town 2-1 in the final. And, of course, under Cloughy, they've won lots of other trophies, but never this particular one. They came close in 91, of course, and Gaza did his knee. That was a game that was really overshadowed for the stupid tackle by Gascoigne that got himself injured and carried off the field. Spurs did win 2-1 through a Des Walker own goal. Stuart Pearce had actually put Forest in front from that free kick, what Gaza did on that awful challenge on Gary Charles.
That was a super free kick, though, wasn't it?
Well, I was in the semi-final. Yeah, that was Pearce. And then Paul Stewart equalised for Spurs. And then in extra time, Des Walker with an own goal denied Brian Clough that elusive FA Cup. And they just couldn't. And from then on in, it just wasn't meant to be for Cloughy. He's got to a couple of semi-finals. He got to the quarter-finals in 1978 when they were going so well, and they went to West Brom and lost 2-0. Mick Martin and Cyril Regis with the goals that day. And it looked as if Forest were going to win everything domestically. They won the League Cup and the Championship, or what we call now the Premier League. It was the First Division Championship in those days. And then they went to West Bromwich Albion, then managed by Ron Atkinson. And they came a bit of a cropper. Then West Brom themselves in the semi-finals at Highbury, no less, came a cropper 3-1 against Ipswich, and Martin was sent off that day. As here comes Saka now for Arsenal in the modern day. Odegaard might think about the shot, tries to thread the ball through back to Saka, and again Forest were very alert to the danger, and they were a little bit of the rock of the hard place because we know Odegaard can hit shots, as we all know. This is Tavares from Martinelli's pass on the left-hand side. Still 0-0 if you've just joined us on TC Hub platforms. And it's lovely to have you with us. Please, if you haven't hit the subscribe button to any of the participating channels, including JB Sports, J.Football, Storm FM and TC Hub 2, please hit a like. And I'll do a little bit of cross-promotion for Trevor Sports in a little while, because I think it's appropriate that we do a little bit of cross promotion next time the ball goes out of play. It's Arsenal on the attack here, and we've got to stick with it. Martinelli now to Tavares. Tavares now looking to measure across on the left-hand side, which he does, into the penalty area. Hit the defender, which was Scott McKenna. Ball comes out, and then a bit of a pot shot, which doesn't even reach. In fact, it hits the corner flag and goes out. It was from number 16 there, or is it 16? Rob Holding, a typical centre-back's effort. Hits the corner flag and goes out for a throw-in. Unbelievable, Paul. Would you have struck that any better than that?
Me at my age, probably not. But I have to say, though, this is what Arsenal want to do. They want to keep possession of the ball a little bit and just settle things down, and they'll be able to create chances. The chances will come for them.
Yeah, still, it's just a case really of biding the time. Anyway, Tavares has it on the 15 yards inside his own half. Now the ball's inside the Forest half. Martinelli there is making a good break. But Forest at the moment looking very good, strong at the moment. It's Weberdo's legs will carry them through to the end of the game, because there's going to be a lot of tired legs out there. And of course, they're keeping that 5 substitutes rule as the cross comes in there from Brennan Johnson. And here is number 22 now on the ball. Ryan Yates looks towards Zingermangle. Well, that's what we're going to pronounce him as. Zingermangle's cross towards the far post, headed away for a Nottingham Forest corner on the far side, headed away by Cedric Suarez. Better from Steve Cooper's men.
Yeah, they're still in this game. They're doing very well. They're creating opportunities at points in the game themselves. Like I said earlier, there is no dominant team in this game yet,
which will hopefully make for a very exciting cup tie all round. As the corner on the we're looking towards the right hand side, far side as we look now, left hand side, Forest corner. They come towards the Bridgebridge end, and there might be an opportunity here for a shot. And in the end, Zingermangle didn't get the ball from out of his feet, and this is Martinelli who can pounce now as they charge like the cavalry brigade towards the Trent end here, Arsenal. Well, they've just slowed it down a little bit as soon as I say that. And it's still 0-0 if you've just joined us on TC Hub. I'll do a little bit of cross-promotion for Trevor Sports in a little bit, because it does, in fact, affect me and Trevor as it happens, because we're major stars on the latest production he's got coming up a little bit later on his YouTube channel. So I'll tell you a little bit about that coming up in just a second when we get a break in play. Arsenal have it with Odegaard. Now Saka, back to Odegaard again. On the right-hand side, far side as we look here at the City ground. FA Cup third round in real life. And it's Forest 0, Arsenal 0. And a repeat up to the 2018 third round clash, which Forest won 4-2. Even Stephen contest, not a dominant side in it at the moment. As Saka takes possession on the far side. It's Hutton, or Robert Nketiah, takes possession. Saka is close at hand. This is the difficulty there. Nketiah shot just wide, and that's the first real threat we've seen from the Arsenal attack. And it's taken something like 29 minutes. Eddie Nketiah might have got a slight deflection, but it whizzed into the side netting, and I think Arsenal have a corner. We'll get Paul's views on that in just a second. Arsenal about to get ready to try and pounce here from a set play. But set plays will be crucial. Big Ben White's forward from the back, the former Brighton player, and of course former Leeds loanee. I'm sure Russ Browning will know very well. Russ is our producer with us tonight as well. Sorry about Leeds earlier, Russ. Well, you know how Burnley fans feel now. Right, or Newcastle fans for that matter. Half an hour come then. Forest 0, Arsenal 0. Here comes the corner from the far side, headed away by Forest. That was terrific defending there by the men from the River Trent. Terrific play, and now they've got a chance to break themselves. And there's a little shove there. The referee doesn't want to know. James Garner saying his shirt was tugged, but referee, I think it would have been a little soft if he'd given that as a free kick. I'll be honest with you, Mr. Forson. But the Nketiah chance just a second or two ago, Paul, that was the first flash we've seen from Nketiah. We've been playing nearly half an hour.
Yeah, it's the closest we've come, and it's the first time Arsenal's really got anything significant on goal as well. But great defending from the corner, absolutely superb work there. Yeah,
superb work, and I haven't seen the game Russ has just sent me a text. VAR cost us. I haven't seen, to be honest with you, I haven't seen the game back. I'd have to watch the game back to get a definitive view. But there was nothing wrong with the second goal scored by Jared Bowen. Now we're going to see an Arsenal sub here. Presumably there's an injury or something's not right tactically. I'm not quite sure, but Arsenal are preparing a substitution down below us here. It's come a bit of a surprise. I'm looking around the pitch and I can't see too many players injured. This is Odegaard now for Arsenal towards the edge of the area. Saka's close at hand. Saka not keep back. Now the shot comes in and wide of the target. They're getting close all the time, Arsenal. Again, just wide of the target. This time it was number 23 with the shot. It was Sambi Lokonga with the shot. One of the two holding midfielders. And also getting closer all the time, Paul, with each passing moment. We'll just get your views in a second because Arsenal have taken a short corner. Here's Odegaard. Odegaard back in there once more. And Arsenal coming in. There's an Arsenal player gone flying over there. And I'm not sure what the referee said. Ben White went down. And I think the referee said, get up to your feet. Would have been interesting to see if we did have VAR, whether that would have been given as a penalty. Just went, oh, I tell you what, Worrell's got more than a fistful of his shirt there, Paul.
Oh, yeah, he's got a hold of him there. Well, I suppose when you've no VAR, I mean, you can get away with things like that. But, yeah, that looked... if that was in the middle of the park, you've got to ask, would the referee give the free kick?
Absolutely. And whilst Paul was talking, the corner came in and spectacularly, Bryce Samba took that ball brilliantly with one hand. That's brilliant goalkeeping, that's got to be said. I suppose that is a major talking point, Paul, when you see that. I mean, as I said, we've seen a fistful of shirt there given. But that's what makes the game that we all like to debate down the pub and everything else, I suppose, because it's one of those things really that will get people talking in the pub once the final whistle bolts at the end of a game. But at the moment, we're a long way from that at the moment. We've played 33 minutes and we're inside the last sort of 12 minutes of this first period. And Tavares is actually out. He's going to be injured. So Tavares has picked up an injury. I couldn't see where he was injured from. Right, just a little bit of cross-promotion for Trevor Sports tonight in the virtual world of Trevor Sports, as we're going to see, just get this substitution out of the way. It's number 3, Kieran Tierney is about to come on. So Tavares is going. It's a shame, really, Tavares going off, actually, Paul, because he was doing quite well down that left-hand channel.
Yeah, and he does look upset. It's unfortunate. He's probably picked up an injury there. That's a shame.
It is a shame. Whilst that substitute's taking place, let me just remind you of Trevor Sports, what we're coming up on Trevor Sports. We've got the Mersey. This is the virtual version, by the way. Tavares throws his gums away in disgust and frustration. I can understand what the reasons to why. But we've got the Merseyside derby from Goodison Park. This is the virtual world, so don't get confused with the real world. This is on PES 21. We've got Arsenal. We've got Everton, Liverpool rather, at Goodison Park. That's going to be the live offering. And I do that game with guys as Trevor Motson and Trevor himself hosting with Hanson and Hill. Three people from their time. Meanwhile, a yellow card has been shown there to Ziga Mango for a challenge there, I think on Baku Saka, was it? Well, I think Saka's reaction was a bit on the delayed side, but the referee was adamant it was a yellow card to the Forest player. Saka may have just milked it a little bit, but Philip Sakanango is now booked, and it remains 0-0 with about 10 minutes of the first half to go. Trevor will give you a rundown of all the latest scores. What's been happening over the weekend of the Cup, and might bring you ball for one or two bits and bats. But I'm certainly going to go and grab a cup of tea here at a very cold city ground. In fact, I might just get around a drinks in, Paul, for myself and yourself. Get some hot cup of teas all round, bit of PG tips.
You're very kind, JB.
Yeah. Other brands of tea are available, incidentally, including Tetley's, as the cross comes into the penalty area, headed away. I don't talk about Yorkshire tea because I'm not from Yorkshire. We don't talk about Yorkshire tea. It's not a good brew. Anyway, 0-0. If you've just joined us, just making a little bit of small talk because Arsenal tried to make inroads but can't with this brilliant marshalled Forest defence. Colback gets it away up towards the big number 9, Keenan Davis of Aston Villa. Had a bit of a set to earlier on in the first half, but seems to have shrugged that off okay. Here's Odegaard again. Just needs to see a bit more influence from him in the middle of the park, I feel. Here's Patino with a good cross into the penalty area, looking for Saka on the far right-hand post. And then Ben White has to come out and get the ball back to Bert Leno, who then chests the ball, and now Arsenal can play out from the back. We've got about less than 10 minutes to play. We've played 36 and a half minutes. From a neutral's point of view, Paul, how do you think the first half has gone? It's been really a bit of a joust rather than a free-flowing game so far, hasn't it, really?
Well, it has. I think Arsenal have dominated possession, but I think Nottingham Forest defensively have been excellent. I think we have to say that because they've shut Arsenal down for most of this first half.
They certainly have. Mike is there as well. It's a tactical change, apparently, according to Mike, who's a big Arsenal fan, because he's unhappy with the performance and he's been sloppy in possession. That's why he went off in a bit of a huff. Now we get the message. It wasn't an injury, Paul. I can't understand why he would be unhappy with the performance, because Tavares was making some good breaks down that left-hand side. That's a bit disappointing for me, if that's the case. I can actually understand the player's frustration there a little bit, but I'm sure we'll hear more about that once the game is over with. Anyway, it's Tierney on. And he's a terrific player himself, and it's one extra problem that Forest now need to be aware of as Garner now clears away from his own byline out of play for a throw-in. So as it turns out, Paul, it turned out, Paul, he wasn't happy with the performance. Read into that, if you will.
Well, I don't think he's done that bad at all. I don't think it warrants such an early substitution, but for one reason or another, Mikel Arteta has decided that his performance wasn't acceptable and he had to come off.
Well, it's a baffling one. It's a head scratcher here, as Arsenal comes charging forward with Martinelli on that near side. And a chance here on the edge of the area for the shot there from Patino, which was charged away. Now this could be a problem because Arsenal got two back. And this is Davis, but he can't be found that time. And in the end, Arsenal do get away with it. But at the moment, it's Arsenal not really having it all their own way. And you've got to give credit to Nottingham Forest. They've been very, very patient and stout defensively. They've looked very, very good when they've looked in possession. But that final ball's just been lacking. But you've got to make sure, even if you're a championship side, you've got to make sure that final ball is on the money, because if it does penetrate the defenders, and then you've got the goalkeeper completely vulnerable. And the likes of Jack Colback, who's got masses of Premier League experience with Sunderland and before that Newcastle and before that Sunderland, will know that better than anyone. He's a quality player still, even though his years is certainly advancing at the moment. But at the moment, it's still 0-0. And here come Arsenal now with Nketiah running towards the edge of the area, but the ball just poofed away by Stevie Cook towards halfway, and then Holding gets a header back to Ben White, who in turn just turns and then just plays the ball out to the far side where Cedric Suarez takes possession. Still 0-0. Finds Odegaard here at the City Ground. FA Cup third round action for a Sunday afternoon, Sunday tea time now. Usually a time where in the olden days, Paul, Bullseye would be on with the late great Jim Bowen. Remember those days?
Oh yeah, the match on a Saturday afternoon with Elton Wellesby and Brian Moore, and then after that, Bullseye.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, fantastic. We've sort of got the old days back a bit with the match being streamed on terrestrial television. Sadly, no Bullseye to finish it off with, but how we think for those Sundays again, that's for sure. But yeah. Absolutely superb. Can you get Granada in Canada? Can you get Granada where you're from these days?
No, I can't get it. You can download a VPN and probably get an online version of it, but it's no. I'm stuck with the CBC. Not nearly as good.
No, as good as good old Granada land, where we were probably brought up in. Anyway, back to the present, and here's Saka now for Arsenal. Me and Paul having a little nostalgia trip there whilst nothing was going on. Here's the cross from Cedric Suarez. It's too long, and the goalkeeper he's left it towards his defender Spence, who has to head it out for a throw-in. So we're into the last 4 minutes of what's been a very competitive first half, but at the moment, no goals to show for it. So let's hope for a better second half. It's a typical game, really. That Paul, that the first half's never so good, but it's when the second half begins. Usually, that's when the game really starts to hot up. I don't think this game will be. I think this game will be no exception to the rule. I think in the second half, I would expect it to get a bit better.
I think so. I do. I think it will open up in the second half. I think Nottingham Forest right now, though, are being very, very organised. They're shutting down Arsenal. They're not getting shots on goal, are Arsenal. So they're being shut down. The issue for Forest now is to try to transition from defence into attack.
Yeah, and that's the trouble when you're playing a top flight side. You're a second tier side. Statistically, on paper, you're never as good as the top flight side. But when we look at teams like Kidderminster Harriers and Cambridge and teams like that, Cambridge will never forget their day. And a man called Ironside scoring the winning goal there. He was definitely no cripple, that's for sure. If you're old enough to remember Ironside, the American TV series, he was a detective who was in a wheelchair. That's who I'm referring to. So don't write in and say you're taking the mickey out of the disabled. I'm not. I'm just telling you that I remember the series, even though I'm nearly 40 years old. If you're wondering who Ironside the detective is, ask your grandparents. Right, now that we've sorted that little problem out, let's get back to the game. You remember Ironside, don't you?
Oh, I remember Ironside, yeah. I never really watched it much, but I remember it.
Yeah, and a foul there on the goalkeeper Samba and a free kick to Nottingham Forest. It was a foul by Eddie Nketiah. We've got a couple of minutes to go of the first half. Now, normally in a FIFA game, you get a yellow card for that. Dear me. Don't know what Eddie Nketiah was doing there. That was a bit of a hefty challenge.
Yeah, worthy of a yellow card, if you ask me, actually. But, I mean, he's entitled to go for it, but these days, yeah, yellow card. I'm actually glad it wasn't. I'd like to see a little bit more physicality in the game.
I think we all would. Any proper football fan would love to see the physicality because it gets the crowd riled up and gets a bit of an atmosphere going. I think that's the important thing to watch out for. As Samba will take the kick now, left-footed for Nottingham Forest. Still 0-0 if you join us. We've got about just over a minute of normal time to go. We'll get word from the fourth official today, which is Leicester. He hasn't had to travel too far up the M1 today. Kevin Friend from Leicester. He'll be the man in the know with the ball in about a minute's time, and we'll get some indication how much longer there might be at the end of the first half. I can't really see too much in the way of stoppages. Maybe the substitution, maybe about a minute, I'm guessing, but we'll find out from Mr. Friend, the fourth official, in a second or two. That ball was actually stayed in play. It didn't look as if from the naked eye that had gone out, but the referee allowing it to go on. And Davis has made a good run there, and now plays the ball out to the far side, and that's a poor ball, really, from Ryan Yates when Forest were just starting to get their act together on the counter-attack.
That's unfortunate. But this is, as we come to the close at half-time now, I think nobody wants to concede at this time, so I think both sides will be happy just to get in at 0-0 at half-time.
Oh, Forest have got the ball back. A bit of a mistake there from Cedric Suarez, but then Garner just went too far on the ball. What a good guess that was. 1 added minute at the end of the first half. That should be a side kick. Anyway, here's Saka now for Arsenal. Looking to run at Jack Colback. And he gets the crossing towards the far post. Martinelli is there for Arsenal. Back to goal, faced by Spence. Tierney on the overlap. Martinelli goes for goal right-footed. Hits the defender there, which was Joe Worrell. Martinelli has retrieved the situation, but it's halfway inside the Forest half now, as opposed to earlier on in the piece. And now Odegaard has the ball now. We've got about 20 seconds of the 1 minute. And I should also stress, guys, it's a minimum of as Saka down, the number 7, who's really improved as a footballer in the years gone by. Now the referee's going to give a foul, is he? What's he giving here? Offside, I think. I thought for a moment Sackerman got into the box and had been fouled, but looks like the referee linesman there on the far side, Dan Cook, had put his flag up for an offside, as it turned out.
Yeah, he just straight offside by the looks of it.
And there he was, yeah, just seen there. Linesman Johnny on the spot. So we played a minute of the first half, so we should see this free kick in no more than Paul. Let's get your emotions on what's really been a very jousty sort of first half. Bit bitty at times as the referee bowls for half time, 0-0. Let's get Paul James's reaction.
Yeah, it was an interesting first half for the purists in the sense that Nottingham Forest defending was excellent. They were organised. They shut down Arsenal in many parts all over the field. They were not able to create too much themselves. For Arsenal, they need to change things up in the second half. And perhaps not necessarily needing substitutions, but certainly I think that the way that they're approaching this game.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. I couldn't agree with you more. So, as we hand back to London, to Trevor Vision Centre, which is sort of a TC hub for the day, let's go back to Trevor. With the scoreline here, Trevor, at the City Ground, still yet to come to the service, but I think the second half could be better. Me and Paul are going to take a quick half-time cup of tea, and with the scoreline here, Trevor, Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0.
Thank you, Paul and John. So it looks like this cup tie is just waiting to boil over. It looks like a game which is just sort of getting itself ready to really bring us something quite special. My advice, get yourself a brew, get yourself a quick bite, come and join us in 15 minutes because anything could happen in the next 45 minutes to an hour and a half to penalties. The game itself has been rather a close one. Just some statistics to go through to give you an idea of how the match has actually sort of taken place as well. In terms of possession, Arsenal have had nearly 2/3 of it. And on shots, Arsenal have had 6 attempts to 1. None on target at the moment, so no goalkeeper has had to make a save in anger at the moment. In terms of corners and fouls, it's not terribly interesting, but overall as the game, it feels like it's just not quite sprung into life. Half-time, we're going to bring in the views of a couple of people here in the TC Hub. I'm going to go over first to Mike Hahnemann, who is a big Arsenal fan and is going to got some interesting points to raise about how the side has gone on. Mike, I hope you're there.
Yes, good evening, Trevor. How you doing?
Very well, mate. Very good. Right. Arsenal, 9 players out for them today. What do you think is, what are your thoughts with their performance thus far?
Yeah, it's been very flat, really. I think it's been, very lackluster performance. I think, there's Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, even Martin Odegaard to an extent haven't really been on the ball enough for me. There's been flashes from Martin Odegaard, but not as much as I'd like to see. Eddie Nketiah, of course, leading the line, hasn't really had more than that sort of one sniff, which was the one that was deflected out for a corner as well. And he's, another one who's really not been involved in the game. So when you look at it, it's been a very bitty kind of first half. And I think, there's a few factors in that for me. One being, obviously, the 9 players being out. And also, potentially, I believe, the fact that we put in, such a big performance last week against Manchester City as well. And maybe a little bit of tiredness creeping in from that.
Looking at the game from a tactical standpoint, obviously Arteta going with his tried and trusted 4-2-3-1. Steve Cooper's 3-4-3 formation, is this causing Arsenal, is that sort of losing their inability to be able to get the ball down and play it as they sort of like to do?
Potentially. I think that Nottingham Forest have had a very good first half. They've looked quite dangerous in spells. I think Keenan Davis, the striker from Stevenage, actually, where I'm from. I had a spell with the Stevenage youth team. That's where he started out in 2014, 2015. He's looks a bit of a handful. Obviously, he had a little bit of a coming together between him and Rob Holding as well earlier on in the first half. But yeah, I do think that's probably playing a part. The performance of Nottingham Forest there and the way that they've set up is probably stopping Arsenal from playing how we'd like to. And we'll just have to wait and see what the second half brings. But I think Nottingham Forest and Steve Cooper will just be saying, more of the same in terms of trying to stop Arsenal from playing, and then we can maybe go on and sneak a goal and go through to obviously facing off with Leicester in that potential East Midlands derby, which is potentially lining up for them if they win.
Absolutely, it's definitely going to be the incentive there. What are your predictions for the second half, Mike?
I'd like to say that we'll be better in the second half. I think that, if we can get the ball out to Saka, to Martinelli, we've got Lacazette on the bench to come on as well. Be interesting to see what Kieran Tierney can do now as well, because that's quite an interesting substitution there. Nuno Tavares coming off early in the game there. I think it's after about 30 minutes, 35 minutes, wasn't it? There's still enough quality on there to win the game for me, and I hope that shows come the end. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Arsenal win. But it's the FA Cup, and as has been shown over this weekend, stranger things have happened.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate that. So, when you're looking at the structure of the game today, and I'm also going to bring in our producer, Russ, for this question. Russ, when you look at the game, what do you think Forest have got to do? Because tactically, they look to have got it spot on. What have they got to do to try and win this game?
In the final third, created a number of problems, but they've not really tested Berlin enough as what they've done in previous games against other teams in the division. They've normally tested the players on a number of opposition on a number of occasions. They're not really doing that today. They're trying to force their way through and force it in. It's a bit like what Arsenal used to do in the olden days, try and walk the ball in, which also were known for in previous years. I think that's what they're trying to do today. Not they need to take chances that they have done in previous games where they tested the keeper. Yeah, they've really scored many goals in recent weeks on the place, but they have tested the goalkeeper, caused a few problems. I've just been looking as well, Trevor, how much of the players been in the Nottingham Forest half compared to the Arsenal half in that first half, and all possession, the time of the ball has been played rather than in his half in the middle of the park. We've been 42% in the middle of the park, 36% has been in Forest half, 22% in Arsenal's half. So I think if Forest get a foothold of the ball, causes quite a lot of problems. The Forest main attacks have been coming down the right hand side more than the left hand side, whereas Arsenal are coming down their right or Forest's left. So if they can counteract that, it'd be more better going down both flanks Forest in the second half. I could see them possibly, because I don't think they'll win it over. I don't think they'll win, but if they continue to stand both sides and cause problems down both sides, there could be a shock. It could be a positive result for Forest from the end, because stranger things have happened. But possession-wise, Arsenal have had more possession, but there's been no shots on target from either side yet. Also 6 shots, Forest 1, with Forest having their shot blocked. Also 4 shots blocked, 2 off target. So they need to start getting more chances as well, Nottingham Forest.
So what are your predictions in the second half, Russ?
As I said to you now, scored the level, looking at the stats and looking at where the player of the possession's been. For me, I would have to say I think Arsenal may just edge it. I think Arsenal will edge it in the second half. I'm going for 1-0 to the Arsenal, as the fans normally like to sing at the Emirates and the grounds as well. So I think Arsenal will edge it 1-0. And I'm going to put my neck out here as well. Young Charlie Patino will get Arsenal's winning goal against Nottingham Forest. He's only 18 years of age, 17th of October 2003, his birthday. I think he'll get the winning goal for Arsenal in a 1-0 win today. If that happens, I shall put a bet on. But gamble responsibly, guys, if you do decide to put a bet on.
Well, there you go, folks. Not only are we giving you the comprehensive breakdown and punditry, we're also giving you tips at the bookies. Interesting. Both times we've spoken to have both gone for Arsenal at the moment. I'm going to go to our co-commentator, Paul James, very shortly, but I'm going to use this opportunity to go through a bit of feedback about some of the games today that we've had so far. In terms of all the games that have taken place in the FA Cup, I'll just run through the scores. For those of you who are joining us, my name's Trevor Sports, and you're listening to the TC Hub, FA Cup third round results. Luton 4-0 winners at home to Harrogate. Cardiff waited till extra time to beat Preston North End. Eerie sight that was there with no fans in the stadium. Charlton Athletic were beaten at home at the Valley by Norwich City. Liverpool were 4-1 winners at Anfield, though Shrewsbury did take the lead against them. Stoke City beat Leyton Orient 2-0. Spurs were 3-1 winners against Morecambe, although they were trailing 1-0 to Morecambe with 20 minutes to go. West Ham United beat Leeds United at the London Stadium, although there was controversial circumstances to the first goal in which West Ham scored. And Wolverhampton Wanderers at Molineux beat Sheffield United 3-0. If you're just joining us, Nottingham Forest and Arsenal was currently 0-0 here at the City grounds, and we are going to go and wait for more. For those that are following the African Cup of Nations, I can confirm that Cameroon have won their game against Burkina Faso. They won 2-1. Abubakar with the 2 goals for Cameroon, both coming in penalties in the 40th and the 3rd minute of time added on in that match. So we've got 2 predictions at the moment standing for Arsenal. Paul James, if you're there, what do you think Nottingham Forest have got to do to win this game? Because at the moment it seems our pundits don't think they can win.
Well, it's the FA Cup, you never know. But I think for Nottingham Forest, I think they have to start to transition some of this great defensive play into attack. I think they can hurt Arsenal. Arsenal at the moment, as Mike said, a little bit disjointed. They're certainly not at their best. So I think it is possible for Nottingham Forest to win this game. But I think if I'm looking at it purely from a neutral point of view, and I'm not an Arsenal fan, but purely from a neutral point of view, I would agree that it's likely that Arsenal will snatch it.
Okay, so another thing to look at as well, we're watching a game here which has got no VAR, so referee Craig Pawson today. How refreshing is it to see a referee and linesman actually making decisions and actually giving offsides and stamping their authority in the match?
I think it's good, but I think at the same time, as football fans, we pretty much are never happy in terms of refereeing decisions and in terms of things that go on in the game. Russ mentioned that the controversial. I didn't see the game, but Russ mentioned the controversial decision on the goal in the Leeds game today. We have also possibly could have had a penalty today. For a handful of a shirt that if we had VAR may have been given. I think it's good that the referees have a stamp of authority on the game, that their decision is final. Personally, my view of it, I like VAR, but it needs to be managed a lot better than what it is. There needs to be, a more structured way of looking at this. Let's say, for example, yes, the VAR says go and look at it, referee. The referee should not just take VAR's opinion on this. They should go and look at it themselves and then make a decision at that point whether they feel that the penalty or non-penalty is justified.
No, absolutely. One of the questions I wanted to ask you from your standpoint in looking at the game, Paul, is we talk about the great defensive work that Nottingham Forest have made. But Arsenal looked, I know Mike made the point, they looked at playing flat. What have Arsenal got to do to really sort of raise their game?
Well, they need to change what they're doing. They are, from what I can see in the first half, they are trying to go through that Nottingham Forest defence. They're trying to play their way through. I don't think that that's working. I think they're going to have to try something a little different. But I think if they were going to bring on a substitution, I think, and they perhaps were to bring on, say, Lacazette, that might not be a bad idea in the second half. But I wouldn't leave it much longer than the 65th minute if they're going to do that.
Okay, and very lastly, I would love your opinion on the Nuno Tavares substitution and just how early that took place. What are your thoughts on that?
I thought it was a little harsh, and I thought it was a little rushed. He wasn't terrible. He may not have been, on top of his game. He may not have been at his best, but I don't think he was playing badly. I certainly don't think he was it stand out worse than any other of the Arsenal players. I think that was a harsh decision, but maybe it was done by Arteta just to try to give a boost to his team. Sometimes taking a player off. And making an early substitution like that can kind of waken up the team a little bit. And perhaps that was his intention. But I felt it was a little harsh.
Okay, no worries. Paul, I love your predictions for the second half.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Right, folks, something to let you know in today's FA Cup football, no game has finished goalless. And I've only said that because I hope we don't have that. But if we do, to remind you, we're going to be with you through to the bitter end. That's because if the game does finish the scores level, we will be heading to extra time. And after that, we could well be heading to a penalty competition if required. As for us on the TC Hub, we're heading back to the gantry and the second half in the company of Paul James and First John Stoddard.
Thank you, Trevor. And just to elaborate on your point that we haven't had a 0-0, I've only, in all the live games I've been doing the TCO, and I've been doing it since June when the Euros started. In all the live football that I've done for them, I've only had one goalless draw. Ironically, that was a Burnley West Ham, would you believe? But let's hope for a better second half. Usually the first half takes a while to come to the surface, and then we usually get a better game of football second half. A lot of our pundits going for an Arsenal win. I'm not going to make predictions. I don't, as I'm strictly unbiased. What will happen will happen. From a TCO point of view, we'd love to see a shock, and we'd like to bring a shock. But Arsenal still will be favourites. But in the FA Cup, as Paul said at half time, anything can happen. We're just waiting for Forest to come out onto the field. Mikel Arteta there just going through there out the tunnel as I talk to you now. Well, what prospects were a shock in the second half? Well, will it go to extra time, Paul? Let's just get your views before the teams reconvene for the second half.
Well, there's definitely the possibility, JB, that we could be looking at extra time here. But also, I think it would be interesting to see how Arsenal react, because I'm sure Mikel Arteta has tried to light a fire under his team at half-time, because they haven't been great in that first half.
Yeah, and as I was speaking there, Mike doesn't want to see a shock. He says, "Speak for yourself, JB," and he doesn't want to see no shock. Cheers. I'm not trying to do that. Has Have 565 says Arsenal to win 2-0 in the second half. We're getting comments on YouTube. Thank you for your comment there, my friend. And, if we keep the comments clean and we keep them to the football, we'll be okay. Right. Arsenal to get us underway. They're attacking the Bridgeford end away to my right, where all their supporters are situated. And Forest are attacking their favourite Trent end in the second half as we get underway in the second half of the penultimate cup tie of the weekend. Nottingham Forest, Arsenal, if you've just joined us. We'll recap the two teams in just a second. There was a substitution earlier on. Tavares off, Tierney on, but we'll reconfirm the 2-11s for the start. So, of the second half, and as soon as we get word of that, we'll let you know. As Forest now look to come forward here with Worrell on the ball. Number 4, part of a 3-man centre-back, and which sort of worked well for Millwall for a lot of yesterday until the second half when Bowers really got on it as the cross comes in from Spence, doesn't take a deflection, and I think it's a goal kick to Arsenal. So we're playing 45 seconds of the second half. Around this time, Elise was scoring a magical goal yesterday for Millwall, for Palace against Millwall. He really took the game away from Millwall, who up until that point were playing really well. And yesterday, of course, Forest looking to put their name amongst the shockers this weekend alongside Kidderminster Harriers, Boreham Wood, Cambridge United, who won famously at Newcastle, Huddersfield Town, several other teams as well. And of course, we had that magnificent 5-4 match at Barnsley when I felt for Barrow a bit because I covered them in an earlier round before Christmas, and they were so good value for beating Ipswich. And that was just not too far down the road from here, just 25 miles up the M1. That gave it up. Well, terrific match, that 5-4 game. We've had some terrific games on the TCO, and we've brought you plenty of goals to boot. We haven't had a goal this time round as the ball is forward, and it's Bernd Leno in goal for Arsenal. So let's recap the teams then, starting with Forest, with Bryce Amber in goal, Joe Worrell, Cook, McKenna at the back. Then it's Spence, Garner, Yates and Colback, Johnson, Zinger-Michael and Davis up front. For Arsenal, it's Leno in goal, Cedric White, Holding and Tierney, who came on for Tavares earlier on. Sambia, Luca, Patino, Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli and Nketiah. Now here's a chance for Forest. Shot comes in from Keenan Davis. He'll get a second opportunity. Now Spence has it on the right-hand side. Forest really going for it at the start of the second half. Davis now looks to try and get it onto his right foot, but takes too long, and Odegaard and the two-man Arsenal pincer movement stops him from doing so. Ball played into the penalty area, and out of the way. Still Forest come forward. And there was a bit of a stumble inside the area, but no penalty. And I don't think the Forest were appealing anyway. Colback gets possession just on halfway. Terrific start to the second half, this from a Nottingham Forest viewpoint.
Oh, yeah, they've started off like a train. I wasn't expecting this at the start of the second half, and I'm not sure Arsenal was looking at this.
Absolutely. And here come Arsenal, Forest again. Spencer's been a really good player, but of course, because we got two commentators rather than the one, the co-commentator, and that's your job tonight, Paul. You've got to choose a player of the match a bit later on, should it go that far. Just remind you, extra time and penalties. Here come Arsenal now, looking to break on the attack with Nketiah, who shoots, but it's deflected kindly into the arms of Bryce Samba. So, Paul, you've got a really good big decision to make tonight, so you better keep your sharp eyes on this game, because you will have to choose later on in the second half, of course, the Player of the Match award, and I'm sure you'll do that very, very well. You did so last time on your debut on New Year's Day. You picked a good one there for that Palace West Ham game, which you did really well. I know you were nervous. Are you as nervous today before the start of this one? Were you as nervous?
I know I'm a bit more settled today, but it's still whenever you're live and people are watching, you're always a bit nervous, aren't you?
I've done this game now for over 300 times, and I never get nervous these days. I just let it go over my head these days. You know, when you've done it for over 300 times, you've brought a bit of a thick skin to it all. But I was nervous in the early days when I first started this up in the 2016 Euros, so I was a little bit shy of retiring then, but I think I've got a bit better since then. But certainly grew a goal forward in the audio commentaries on JB Sports, and then the TC Hub started, and I was glad to join them in the end, because by the end of it, I should tell you that I was producing, hosting, commentating on it, everything. I was doing about 8 jobs at once, and it just wasn't for me towards the end. That's why we've joined with the TC Hub, and also it gives us a chance to hear fresh voices. And this actually will be the last commentary game for about a week or so, because I've got some other stuff to sort out. So I'll be taking a little bit of a rest, hopefully to be back within a week and a bit's time. Well in time for the 4th round of the FA Cup, of course. So
interesting ties there too.
Yeah, 1 or 2 interesting ones. I'm sure I haven't had a chance to look at the draw myself, because I've been so busy prepping for this game. And of course, I needed to see who they got in. Forest and Arsenal got in the draw. They got Leicester City, who had a good win the other day against Watford, 4-1. Norwich winning today, of course. Just a shame Cardiff Preston wasn't attended by anybody, because we had the Welsh at the moment. Mark Drakeford is a bit of a villain in those parts for locking down Wales at the moment. No fans allowed into the stadiums.
It's unfortunate. You lose your home advantage when the fans aren't there.
And also, it's a shame from the Scottish point of view. That's why we've got no Scottish Premier League games at the moment. They're taking that winter break because of Sturgeon's misdemeanours. But I'm not going to go into anything political, because we're not a politics channel. We're a football or a sports channel. And we're going to just concentrate on sport at the moment in time. As Odegaard, I think I've not done a bad job, considering that there's hardly any black numbering on that Arsenal shirt.
Oh, JB, I have to take my hat off to you, mate. You've done an amazing job, because I cannot see those numbers at all.
It also helps covering Arsenal several times over the years as well, and commentating on some of these players. This one I definitely do know. Odegaard playing the ball over the top, and Nketiah tried to chest it down, and Warren was in there very quickly, and he had to time that slide tackle well. Ball out for a throw, and he had to time that well, Paul, because if he had caught Nketiah, he could have run the risk of giving a penalty away. Yeah,
that was an excellent tackle. Just knocked it out for the throw-in, but what a great tackle that was. It was risky.
Yeah, but that's the problem when you go to the ground in the penalty box. You do run that risk, and it's a 50-50 chance you take, because 50% of the time you get the ball, 50% you go through the man, and you do give that penalty away. So it's really what experience tells you to do. If you're a young defender coming into in any football side, you are taught to just stay on your feet, be patient, and try and frustrate the attacking side. It's very easy to slide in and try and get the ball spectacularly. Leave that to the experienced heads. Here's Nketiah. Here's a chance now for Odegaard rather for Arsenal. Still 0-0 if you've just joined us on all TCM platforms. Ball out towards Tierney on the far side. Tierney contests it well. The Scottish player, Scottish international, formerly of Celtic, of course. Now he might have a problem here because Johnson's breaking down at breakneck speed. He's got two in the middle for him, and there's a chance for a goal. No, save brilliantly by Leno. Looked as if Forest were going to get there. It was Ziganakol with the shot. He hit it right-footed, and Bernd Leno, Paul, made an absolute brilliant save. It's a Forest corner, and it's still Nottingham Forest 0. Arsenal 0 in the FA Cup. Brilliant save there, Paul.
Absolutely. Best move of the match so far, and certainly the best chance, but what a superb save. He got down very, very well to make that save.
And he knows that Aaron Ramsdale's the number one at the moment, so he needs to have a good game, Bernd Leno, to try and challenge Ramsdale for that number one spot. Especially with the Premier League now coming, there'll be games coming thick and fast with all the cancellations as well. Here comes the corner from Forest, headed over the top, is it? Or is it still in play? Well, it's out now. It's going to be a Forest corner on the left-hand side this time. I wonder if the Trent End's trying to suck the ball into the back of the net. The Trent End's really getting behind their team now. The Forest fans getting behind their team. That was a great save from Bernd Leno because it was a very difficult chance. It was a very difficult save to make. Low down as well. It was a great save. So Worrell's forward, Cook's forward. Colback's going to take the corner. Looks as if he's going to float it in the former Sunderland and Newcastle man. Can Forest get their noses in front here? What a chance for them now. Big opportunity with one of these to make a name. Colback's corner into the bar post. It came a handball. The referee doesn't seem to know or doesn't want to know. I'd have to look at a replay. No VAR, remember. But Forest there in the last 2 or 3 minutes there, Paul, really giving Arsenal a scare or two.
Oh, they've started this second half and really put a stranglehold on this game. And they've certainly created the best chance of the match, which warranted a good save. But they have really started this second half like a train and have tried to take a stranglehold on this game. They're doing very well.
Yes, and we're coming up to the 9th minute of the second half on all TCF platforms plus Twitch. We're not on Periscope or Twitter anymore. We do have the Twitter handle if you want to follow us on Twitter at Commentary Live 1. Here's Jack Colback now on the left-hand side for Nottingham Forest. Plays it into the penalty area. Might break for Davis inside the box. It's Keenan Davis. Has to turn away. Colback now. Left-hand side, back into Davis. Plays a 1-2, but he can't get Colback in behind. But again, the idea was good from Forest. Just the execution that lacked. Still 0-0.
Yeah, that was a nice move. It's just unfortunately it didn't work out. Steve Cooper's got to be very, very happy with his team in the start of this second half.
I just wondered what he put in the halftime cup of tea at halftime in that Forest dressing room. A bit of testosterone, possibly.
I don't know what he put in it, but I'd like some.
I think we'd all do it. Might just keep the chill out, the cold here in Robin Hood country, of course. Sherwood Forest, not too far away from the city of Nottingham, of course. Can the modern day Robin Hoods of Nottingham Forest absolutely defeat the Sheriffs of Arsenal and get themselves through to that 4th round joust, possibly with Leicester City? A Midlands derby awaits if Forest, if they get through. But Arsenal will want to get Leicester at their place as well. They'll be just as keen. But they're under a little bit of the caution at the moment. But as we know, we've covered them a few times on the TCM, a number of times, and they are an excellent footballing side. Here's Saka, who's been one of my standout players of the season in terms of a commentator's point of view. I love watching him play. Good chip in there towards Nketiah. Back to Saka. They were trying to claim handball. It wasn't. It was with the chest. Shot comes in, deflects, and it's into the Bridgman end, and it's going to be a corner kick to Arsenal. It definitely wasn't a handball by Saka, that's for sure. And then in the end, Patino hit the shot, and it goes behind for a corner. Better from Arsenal there, Paul.
Yeah, much better. They need to bring Saka into the game more. I agree with you that he's been a standout player for Arsenal this season, and they need to bring him into the game more because he's been a bit quiet in this game so far.
Yes, and we're 33 minutes away from extra time if there's no score here. If there's no further scoring or it ends a draw, it doesn't matter if it's 0-0, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. Not that we're going to get a 3-3 in, 33 minutes, but it's a crazy game, football. As the great late Jimmy Greaves used to say, it's a funny old game. Arsenal corner in from the far side towards the near post. It was headed away brilliantly by Nottingham Forest. who will look to a counter-attack, but there's nobody forward in a red shirt, and they were all back defending that latest Arsenal corner. So any possibility of a counter-attack fell by the wayside. This is Saka now down the right, taking on Jack Colback, who's using all his experience. Ball into the area, and the ball across the face of goal, and Nketiah really, from 6 yards out, Paul, has missed the easiest chance of the lot. And I think he misdirected his head. It was a lovely cross again from Saka, who's certainly been terrific in the last sort of 5 minutes. And Nketiah got his header at the far post, all completely wrong.
Oh, what a chance, JB. What a chance. And for the first time in this game, the Nottingham Forest defence falls asleep. What an opportunity. That should be 1-0.
It should be 1-0, really. And Nketiah, who's been in decent form as well. I mean, Arsenal really haven't really missed Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang after his misdemeanours the other month. But tell you what, Nketiah there, I'd have backed him 9 times out of 10 to have buried that one. And even Mike agrees. Ball over the top, looking towards Saka, but out comes Bryce Samba, who's had an excellent game. And whatever he's had to do, he's done very, very well. But the game now starting to open up as a contest. And I tell you what, Paul, it's going to be an interesting last half an hour or so, that's for sure.
Yeah, from what I can see so far, JB, it's anybody's game.
It's anybody's there to be won or lost. This is why we love the FA Cup so much. This is why we love the third round weekend. Remember Cambridge yesterday. If Forest can get a bit of that Cambridge spirit, they could certainly cause an upset. But Arsenal will want to show that what they're capable of, and Saka's certainly proving that. He's got away from Colback again for the umpteenth time. He's in the penalty area. What a tackle that is! But it's Cedric now on the overlap, and he's fouled his man. It's going to be a free kick to Forest. And Cedric Suarez isn't best pleased, but Saka again, every time he gets the ball down the right, he absolutely whips Colback here for pace, doesn't he? Brilliant,
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant stuff. 0-0, we're coming up to an hour gone.
I mean, it's really good there. It was a great tackle, by the way, but this is what Arsenal need to do, I think, to help get some sort of control on the game. Saka is a difference maker in any team. And I think if Arsenal bring him into the game more, Forest are going to struggle.
Absolutely. And if Arsenal were to win this game, funnily enough, as Trevor was alluding to at the break, the last time Arsenal did win the cup on a couple of occasions, Arsenal 79, they beat Forest along the way. 93, they beat Forest in a 5th round game. Ian Wright did score that day. That was when Forest were really struggling in Brian Clough's last season, where the events of that season really took its toll on him, on poor old Cloughie, who was under a lot of pressure, was drinking a lot of heavily, if the press reports were to believe. And it was really sad to see a great icon of Forest really disappear. Meanwhile, a 3-kick against Arsenal. Fouled there on Yates. Let's have a look at that one again. I'm just looking at the replay. Oh, he barged him off there a bit, didn't he, Paul?
Yeah, well, he left his feet and charged him. Can't do that. That's a foul.
Arsenal were protesting that Yates had made a bit more of it than it needed to be, but I don't think he was making too much of a mountain out of a mole. We've played nearly 61 minutes of this FA Cup game. Remember, it's going to be decided today. Extra time penalties could decide. Steve Cooper's men have got a real opportunity here. And Ghana's behind this one. It's just about 30 yards maybe to the right of centre as I look out towards the ground. And so opportunity knock here for Nottingham Forest. Can they absolutely like this blue touch paper and give this cup tie a real boost of a goal here? What a lovely feeling it would be if Ghana was to score here, just from a neutral's point of view. Here comes Ghana, steps up, right-footed, over the wall, and it's a brilliant save down the way to his left. Behind the goalkeeper, then Colback goes down. He wants a penalty and won't get it, but what a brilliant save that was down the way to his left from Bernd Leno. The free kick was superb, and Saka goes down. It's a 3-kick to Arsenal. We've played nearly 62 minutes, Paul. It's 0-0, and what a save. Great free kick as well from Ghana. Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely superb. Leno's not going to get much opportunities to play at the moment with Ramsdale doing so well. So if he wants to book his ticket to Qatar for Germany, he has to continue playing very, very well. And that was a sensational save. That's 2 saves he's made in this game that have been very significant.
Yeah, and then there was the Colback thing. I think it would have been rather harsh to have given a penalty against Saka there. I don't think he did that much wrong. Colback just looking for it somewhat, may have slipped as well a little bit as well. It would have been rather harsh to have given a free kick against or penalty against Saka there.
Yeah,
And,
that would have been
now,
brutal. That was
yeah,
no
meanwhile,
penalty for me.
no penalty from Paul and a free kick definitely for Nottingham Forest on the far side. They are really taking the fight to Arsenal. You've got to give them credit for this. And Steve Cooper, he has done a terrific job. Now, Colback is forward for this one. Now then, was this a penalty now? Did he?
No.
Well, no, we were just looking at. I'm just looking at another replay. I think we're both right. There is a little bit of a coming together from Saka and Colback. It would have been a bit harsh to have given that.
If that would have been given as a penalty, we should give up on football. We should just make it non-contact. I mean, they came together, of course, but I think it's more of a slip than anything else. I don't think he dived, but I think it's more of a slip than anything else.
Yeah, that's what I thought at the time, and I still maintain now. But it's a free kick, Garner, whose free kick led to all that kerfuffle a few moments ago. Can he put another good delivery onto maybe one of the centre-backs' heads? It's a free kick. Out comes Leno, and he takes it nicely. That's good goalkeeping. And as Mike Arneman has just been saying in the chat, he's really kept Arsenal in the game. He's made 2 super saves already this second half, and that's another loose ball from Arsenal, who have just seen Paul in the last sort of 5 in the opening 20 minutes of this second half, apart from one effort, apart from a couple of half chances for themselves, seem to have lost their way a little bit. Free kick to Forest, it's still 0-0 with 64 minutes almost gone.
Yeah, they seem to have lost their way a little bit. They've had the best chance of the second half, in my opinion, but they're not playing very, very well. And I think they're trying to bring Saka into the game, which is good. But Forest, I think, has kind of surprised them in the second half, starting the way they have. I don't think Arsenal expected this.
And what I didn't expect is how energetic Forest have been at this stage of the game. 25 minutes or so to go. You'd have think being a sort of a lower league side against a Premier League outfit, you'd have thought that Arsenal would have been a lot more fitter and a lot more skillful. But Forest, to their credit, have been very, very energetic and don't look like running out of steam for any time soon at the moment. We'll just have to see if the game does go into extra time. And they have been, as Mike's just been saying there, they have forced Arsenal into a lot of errors, but they haven't punished them for it, and that could be a key for really a wake-up call for Arsenal now, just to say, "Come on, let's get out, let's snap out of it now, and let's go and try and win this cup tie if we can." Ball intercepted again by Colback, another mistake, and Davis has got it on the left-hand side. Colback is bursting a good inside the penalty area, and Davis just needed to get his head up, maybe try to cross it in, but he was very reluctant to release it. Garner now has the ball left-hand side, crosses in towards the far post, but it's too close to Burke Leno again, and another misplaced pass from Arsenal. Again, they're getting away with them, but how much longer are they going to keep making mistakes and not get punished?
Well, they can thank Leno that they're still in the game. He's been amazing so far. Definitely an early man of the match candidate. He has been very, very impressive. Yes,
that player of the match is Paul was referring to there. He's sponsored by Commentary Services, incidentally. The streaming partner, incidentally, for the season. I didn't have a chance to do it in the first half. I have a chance now. As Samba gets that ball across, I thought for a moment it might have gone straight to Nketiah, but it hadn't. But on ball forward, that should be Holdings. Streaming partner for the season is the Melon streaming app, and we're proud to have them as our streaming partner for the season. If you want to know more about the Melon app, check out the website. All the W's, melonapp.com or melonapp.com. Anyway, 0-0 here in this third round cup game, the penultimate game of the weekend. Tomorrow we've got another biggie for you. It's going to be Trevor in the commentary box, and Russ will be hosting, and hopefully we'll hear Chris Whiteman back in alongside Trevor in the commentary box. And we'll be bringing you Manchester United against Aston Villa, the final cup tie of the weekend, or this long weekend of FA Cup action. And we brought you plenty of goals. We brought 4. I think we brought 5 on Friday, another 3 yesterday at Millwall. There's a substitution taking place, and Lewis Grabban, the top scorer, is going to come on for Keenan Davis. Now, Grabban's got 10 goals. He's a good goal getter at this level. 67 minutes on the clock. Can Lewis Grabban be the difference? He's, as I said, 10 goals in all competitions this season. Would you back him again? Would you not back against him getting an 11th at the moment?
Oh, it's quite possible the way Forest are playing, and he is a dangerous forward. Arsenal need to watch him.
They need to watch him, Mike Hawks. Meanwhile, there's a chance here for Nketiah. There may have been a slight push there as Nketiah shoots, but he shoots into the Bridgeford end. And he's actually just hurt himself as well in the process. Looked like a push there by Nketiah, but he got away with it. No, he just shouldered him off. That's no foul. And he was allowed to go on. Quite rightly, I thought, from the referee. Unfortunately, his left-footed shot sails into the Bridgeford end. Having said that, though, Paul, the angle was a bit acute.
The angle was a bit acute, and from looking at the replay there, it looks like the ball just bobbled a little bit as he struck it.
Yep, and Mike's predicting Lacazette will come on in a few moments. I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I need a spark from somewhere.
If I was Arteta, I wouldn't leave it much longer now to bring him on.
Well, they've got about 22 minutes plus injury time to do something about it here, Arsenal, because they are under the caution. I don't think there's any question about that. Even the most arduous of Arsenal, even the most hardened of Arsenal fans would admit that. That's an offside there. And we are going to see a sub, and it is Lacazette. And Lacazette will now come on. Can he be the difference here? Alexander Lacazette. Well, he has struggled a bit for goals since his arrival, but he hasn't had much chance. Charlie Patino is going to come off. He's had a decent game, but here's Alex Lacazette. Now, this man can score goals. We've seen it before in French football, but in English football, it is a totally different kettle of fish. But he's capable enough and good enough on his day to be a real world-class finisher, Paul. There's no doubt about that, surely.
Yeah, he's a proven goal scorer. He's a proven goal scorer, and Forest are going to have to be very careful with him around. He can make a difference.
Well, grabbing is just what his team a corner, as Paul was talking, and another chance here for Forest. Micah just said off air, he said that Patino has done nothing wrong. Now, I don't know whether he's criticising the management there or the tactics of Arteta, but anyway, Forest have got a corner. They're taking it quickly to everyone's best surprise, not including us two in the commentary box here at the City Ground. A very cold and tight press box at the City Ground. And here's Samba. I'm surprised they went short there. I thought they might have tried to float the corner in. I nearly said free kick then. Nearly a fraudulent slip. Anyway, here comes Colback now in the centre of midfield. Here he is now, left-hand side, gets the ball forward, looking towards the run of Lewis Grabham. We know what he's capable of. He's had a spell at Bournemouth and amongst other teams. He's been tagged offside in a free kick to Forest. Bit surprised there. They went short. I thought they might have actually floated one into the box and really tested that Arsenal defence there. 20 to go, 0-0, and the Forest player has gone down as well. But a bit surprised about that corner routine.
Yeah, they may be just trying something a little bit different. Just going back to the substitution, what Mike was talking about, I don't think Charlie Patino's done anything wrong. I think he's worked hard throughout the game, and he's probably made himself a bit of a good reputation with his performance today. But there may be a tactical reason for this switch.
Yeah, and you're not missing anything, guys, because Zeka Mnango is was just hurt for a few moments. He's back up. I'm pleased to tell you that he's up on his feet and shook it off like a good one. It's going to be a 4-2-2-2 now. So I'm suggesting it's two holding midfielders, two attacking midfielders, and two strikers essentially here. So Arsenal really going for it now. They have to go for it now with just less than 20 minutes to go. We are 20 minutes or so away from that extra half an hour. So we could be in for a bit of a late finish, Paul and I.
Risky switch with the tactics as well. I've found that system doesn't really work for Manchester United. And given Forest have been spreading the ball around so well, I think it allows for a little bit of extra space going forward for Nottingham Forest. But as you say, they do need to go for it.
Yeah, well, both teams need to go for it, but Forest will be a lot comfortable about things because they'll let Arsenal have a lot of the play, and then considering how many players that Arsenal may bring forward might make them susceptible to the counter-attack. Anyway, here's Alex Lacazette. Oh, that's a poor ball, really. Straight, really, to James Garner, who didn't make any much of the clearance away, but a poor touch there from Lacazette. But he won't be too unduly worried about that. Here's Lodegaard now. Just taking up a bit of a deeper position. They need to get him involved a bit more in the attacking sense, I feel. Still 0-0 if you've just joined us on all TCL platforms, on your YouTube, across 5 YouTube channels, TCL itself, JV Sports, JDAT Football, Storm FM, TCL2 and Twitch. We're also on the TCL Twitch channel as Odegaard wins a free kick. A little shove in the back there by Ryan Yates. And yeah, it's one of those nights where you've just got to rub your hands and just keep warm, I suppose. It's one of those cold winter's nights, of course. I'll be glad when summer comes back here in this country a little bit later on this year. But a long way to go yet. So 20, well, we've got about 17 minutes, of the second half left. At the moment, as things stand, we're on for extra time. Going to be Suarez to take the free kick. Cedric, that's Suarez, that is. And it's Suarez to float it in. And that, quite frankly, Paul, was an absolute waste and a disappointment. 0-0 with 73 gone.
That was shocking. Got to do better than that. It was poor.
Well, that just sums it up, really, doesn't it? But at least the game, as a contest and as a spectacle, was really picked up a bit more in the second half. But it is... Frankly, really, some of the set plays from Arsenal has really been disappointing, really. But still, a lot of time left in the game. Oh, dear me, that's a foul. That's got to be a bookable offence. And Spence is furious with Martinelli there.
And
not surprising that Martinelli's going to get himself the yellow card there. But I can understand Spence's frustration there a little bit there because he was away there.
Yeah, it's a professional foul. He made no attempt to get the ball. Took him down.
Simple as that. So 35, Gabriel Martinelli in the book. Not had too many bookings, actually. The referee's been very reluctant to keep the cards in the pocket. But we've got about less than a quarter of an hour. Another sub being lined up here for Nottingham Forest. And can they get that all-important goal? It's going to be whoever's got the hunger for it on the day. Of course, if it does go all the way to extra time and penalties, who will have the bottle if it is to go that way? So Philip Zinganango is going to come off. We'll try to say that one quickly. He's coming off now. And Cafu, not the Brazilian Cafu of a few years ago in the 98 World Cup, but a different Cafu is going to come on. He wears number... he now comes on. So Cafu will now... take the frame. He wears number 18, although we have him down as Ribeiro Diaz, but we're gonna cross that out and put Cafu because it's a lot easier to A to remember and B to pronounce. Quarter of an hour to go. Free kick to Forest. In it goes to the area. Header one named inside the area, but Lacazette, who's just taking a bit more of a deeper role, gets it away. And Arsenal now come forward, but they've not got too many men forward. There's 3 Forest defenders back, and so Bamba will let that go for a throw into Forest. And again, another set piece that ends this time in a disappointment, this time for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, not fantastic. I think at this point now, as we're starting to get into the last 15 minutes of the game, you know, a goal now may well be enough to win the game. So I think both sides are maybe just being a bit more careful now.
Yeah, it's a classic. Well, if you're a kid growing up, it's usually when you used to play a game called Next Goal Wins. Well, for the next quarter of an hour, I think that could well be the case. Because the first goal could well be the crucial goal in this one this evening. As we go now, we're about 15 minutes away from 7 o'clock in the evening here in the UK. If you're listening elsewhere around the world, give us a shout where you're from, and we'll give you a shout back. In Canada, it's morning. In America, it's morning. And in Australia, it's middle of the night now, I think, because usually they have their day when we have our night. So we're coming towards the end. They usually, it'd be early morning now in Australia. So if you are in any of those far off countries, give us a shout. Tell us where you're from, and we'll give you a shout out on any of the platforms that are there. So give us a shout out as well. And for everyone around the world, it's been a terrific game of football. No goals to show for it. Me, JB, John Stuttard, alongside Paul James, both commentators born in Burnley, met in Burnley, but freezing cold, but freezing to death here on a cold night in Nottingham as we observed Nottingham Forest against Arsenal in the third round of the FA Cup. 13 to go, still 0-0. If you've just joined us late, where have you been for the last 70 odd minutes? I've no idea, but thank you for joining us for the conclusion of this cup tie. Odegaard now for Arsenal, up towards Martinelli. Now Tierney, back to Martinelli once again. Still 0-0 here at the City ground. And here's Holding now for Arsenal, deep inside his own half. It's been one of those days. In Trevor Vision Centre, it's pizza time. Well, I think me and Paul will be stopping off at a service station and getting some Burger King Whoppers on the way home after this one tonight. Free kick to Arsenal. And a yellow card now. And the yellow card's all of a sudden starting to mount up. This time Spence is in the book. And it's Tierney, the man he was fouled in. I don't think there was much doubt about that. Clearly a yellow card there for Jed Spence. And a free kick to Arsenal. Still 0-0, 12 to play.
Yeah, very late. It was mistimed. It was late. It was almost like a forwards tackle, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And the attendance has been confirmed at just shy of 25,000, 24,938, 24,938. So a nice attendance here at the City ground yesterday. Very disappointed with the attendance at the Den yesterday. Here's a chance now for Saka. He's got through. He has to come back inside. Cross back in there. Chance for Arsenal. And it went right across the face of goal. And Lacazette from 3 yards just couldn't turn it into the back of the net. Oh, I thought for a moment Saka had got clean through there. The ball played over the top. He's onside there. Colback's played him on, most certainly. Well, he might have took the shot, but then the ball just wouldn't bounce for him. And he put a nice little left-footed cross back. And I thought Lacazette was going to get there, but Worrell did really well there, Paul. Still 0-0 with just over 10 minutes still to play.
Yeah, that chance that was created there was the best chance that Arsenal have created, and not necessarily the best chance, but the best move that they've created in the entire game for them. Whenever Saka's on the ball, that happens. He's creating things. Lacazette, I don't really blame him here. This was again a superb defensive move by Worrell. Absolutely superb.
Yep. One in Mill says New York, 1:46 p.m. in the afternoon. Well, nice to have you all the way from New York. So quite a few people in America tuning into this game. Of course, a lot of people can't get any English football, cup football in America. So these streams are always a good opportunity for them to tune in and catch up with whatever's happening. So nice to have a listener from New York. Reminds me of that Sinatra song. Anyway, enough about Frank Sinatra. Let's get more about this FA Cup game. Here's Grabber now, trying to juggle the ball on the left-hand side for Forest. They're attacking the Trent end in the second half. We've got 10 of those minutes to go, plus any injury time, and the referee has blown for a foul just when Caffrey was just about to wind up the right foot to hit a long-range effort. Colback has been penalised and a free kick to Arsenal. To a lot of frustration inside the City ground. Let's have a look. Well, I don't think there was anything wrong with that. The referee was much closer to what we were. What were your thoughts, Paul?
Didn't see much in it. But the referee, that was the decision the referee made, but I didn't see a lot in that myself.
I thought he got the ball cleanly, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Football's just a bit that way. But Nottingham Forest are far from disgraced. They've been brilliant today in this second half, and they're really giving them good account of themselves. Whatever happens today, they've really given it a good go. Samba with the kick away for Forest. Still 0-0 if you've just joined us. We're on for extra time. That's definitely offside there against Brennan Johnson. He was at least a yard off, if that. Just a little bit inexperienced there from Brennan Johnson, but we played 81 minutes now, 81 and a quarter minutes. We've got less than 9 to play. Plus stoppage time. 1 goal from either side now will surely win it. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0 in the third round of the FA Cup. I've only had the 1-0 draw after 90 minutes, and that ironically was at Burnley when West Ham were the visitors. And that was the only live match I've actually had a 0-0 after 90 minutes. Well, there was that game between Italy and Austria, I seem to remember, because all the goals came in extra time. There was that one I seem to point out, but anyway, well, we'll worry about that. That's a technicality. 0-0. It's Nketiah tries to go forward, gives it away on halfway, appeals for handball, turned away. Here goes Forest again, crossing for the left hand side. Shot in there. Grabban scores inside the 6-yard area. And the City ground has gone absolutely mad. And Forest deserved that. Fans on the field celebrating. And look at the scenes of joy. What scenes at the City ground. The shock is on. Nottingham Forest 1. Arsenal 0. People on the pitch. And the City ground, Paul James, has gone absolutely mad. Could that be the goal that settles the tie? And the substitute Grabban has probably now, unless Arsenal come back very strong, unless there's a miracle in this last 8 minutes, looks like putting Arsenal out of the cup again.
Oh, what a superb move this was, JB. The ball was absolutely pin perfect for Grabban. Oh, this was excellent. The ball went straight across there. Grabban was on the end of it. It was an absolutely superb pass by Ryan Yates, and Grabban was on the end of it. Nottingham, I feel Nottingham Forest deserve this. I think they've been more in control in the second half. They've played better. They've created chances, and there's nothing Leno could have done about that.
Absolutely. They were trying to claim a handball there as well in all of that, but no way was that handball. It certainly came off the chest. I've been looked at the replay, but that really now has put the cat amongst the pigeons. Arsenal in desperate trouble now. And even Mike says they can't deny they don't deserve it. They absolutely do. Brilliant moment. If you're a Nottingham Forest supporter, they won 4-2 4 years ago. Dowell was the fourth scorer from a penalty. Scored around about that time as well. 4-2 it finished, of course. One would be enough now if they could see it out. And now can Arsenal force an extra half an hour? They've got to now. They've got 6 minutes left. Here comes the free kick into the penalty area. Header one! And they claim a penalty! Or a corner of some kind. But it's a corner it is. And I thought for a moment they were going to say, I thought they were going to get a penalty then, but it's not. I'm going to get Paul's views in a minute. Odegaard now. Well, that might just spur Arsenal into life. Now, this is going to be an air and scare in 6 minutes. Here comes the corner in towards the penalty area. Headed away by Forest. To a man, they've been 11 heroes on that pitch. Here's Odegaard again with a bit of an up and under to his shoulder ball. And now a chance now to break out here. And it's Johnson. He's away from two Arsenal players. Good energy there. Good third from Johnson. He's towards the penalty area. And he's got a man waiting in the middle, which was Cafu. But Johnson just holds it up. Great verb. And he's got energy to really find more from it. And oh, look at that. They can't get the ball off him here at the moment. Now they do. But what energy that Forest are showing. To go 85 minutes, and they don't look as if, Paul, they're tiring at all. 5 minutes to play, Forest leading 1-0.
Oh, they're doing superb. They're doing absolutely excellent. And I'll tell you this much, JB. This will only be if this stays the same, it'll only be the second time in 26 years that Arsenal have been eliminated in the third round. And it would be that both times it was at the City ground.
Absolutely. That's a start I didn't actually painstakingly make allowances for. I've been painstakingly in between doing Millwall yesterday and today. I've been at it with the stats and facts and Googling everything you could possibly think of to do with this game. This would be Forest's 28th win in all times. This is a 102nd game. In 101 previous, Forest have won 27, Arsenal have won 51, and there's been 23 draws in all-time head-to-heads in either League or FA Cup or League Cup. And now Forest are just 4 minutes plus stoppage time away from registering win number 28 and inflicting a miserable afternoon for Arsenal. And, well, it's hard to say whether that was a handball or not. Arsenal may be able to debate that along into the night, but Forest, let's be fair, they've been the better side. Steve Cooper deserves a lot of praise. They have a throw-in line of the 18-yard box of Arsenal on the far side. Well, the Trent End certainly sucked that ball into the back of the net, and one or two Forest fans just got a little bit giddy in the celebrations. I must admit, I went a bit giddy in the commentary box. But it's been a while since I've done an FA Cup shock. I was here 4 years ago for JB Sports when Forest defeated Arsenal, and I'm here today, and I could be witnessing lightning striking twice. Deja vu, I think they call it these days. But anyway, 3 minutes for Arsenal to save their skins and force extra time. Can Sam? Well, is that a pass back? That's got to be a pass back, surely. No, it's not.
Oh, that's incredible.
Well, that looked like a pass back to me, Paul. I have got to say, if I love the money, I can't believe that, Paul. Can you? Still 1-0 Forest.
Yeah, that was a back pass. I don't know, maybe Forest deserve a bit of luck, but that was a back pass and a clear back pass at that.
Well, that's a debatable one. Yeah, Mike says definite back pass. I couldn't agree with Mike more. That looked to me as if it was a definite back pass. And, well, I'm afraid Craig Clawson is not going to be Mike Arneman's man. Oh, he is grabbing now inside the area. Good tell it now. Grabber shoots and it's deflected away. It came back to Ryan Yates, who just couldn't get the ball out of his feet. But them decisions aside, to a man tonight, they've been brilliant. And Paul, I'm going to now ask you for our player of the match in association with the commentary services. 2 minutes to go, still 1-0 Forest.
Well, I'm stuck between Joe Worrell and Brennan Johnson. I'm gonna go with Joe Worrell because I think he's been a significant part of what has been a very disciplined Nottingham Forest defence. I think he's done very, very well. He's made several important tackles.
He does, and that's the verdict of Paul James. Joe Worrell is our man and player of the match, sponsored, of course, by Barry Swain's brilliant commentary services. And here he is now trying to stop Kieran Tierney from crossing. He can't successfully do so. Call back with a chest back. That is an illegal sort of thing there. So Joe Worrell has been confirmed as man of the match, and I think a good choice as well because he's been very paramount to the defence. The Forest defence, and they're just seconds away from keeping a clean sheet and knocking Arsenal out the cup. There's going to be an Arsenal change in a moment or two as Grabban chases Ben White with the ball and nods it back coolly to Bert Leno, who, by the way, didn't have a prayer with that goal. Grabban just got in there, stabbed it goalwards, and from the moment it left Grabban's foot, it was always going into the back of the net. Nothing that Bert Leno could do. And actually, in fairness to him, Paul, he's had a decent game as Leno tonight.
He's played very well. Up until the goal, he was a possible contender for man of the match himself. He's not done himself any disgrace today. He's a good reason why it's not perhaps 3-0 right now. Absolutely,
and of course Arsenal, even if they do go out tonight, it's not at the end of the season. Of course they've got to rally the troops. Maybe when they look back, if they did have Smith Rowe out there today, who's been in exceptionally good form. Would it have been a lot better for Arsenal? Possibly, yes. I think, Emile Smith-Rowe has been the story of the season for Arsenal. To lose him to Kobe just before this game was rather unfortunate, Paul, when you look back. If it does turn out to end this way at 1-0, it's very unfortunate. We're now in the 90th minute, 3 added minutes. So, yeah, what difference has not having Smith-Rowe out the side really done to Arsenal tonight?
In my opinion, significantly. It's very, very unfortunate because he has been an outstanding player for Arsenal this season. He's been one of the best in the Premier League.
Yep, and we're now 20 seconds into 3 added. Well, Nottingham Forest, whatever happens from now, and they're not giving the ball back, which I think is a little bit unfair because Arsenal do want to get on with it. And the referee at this point will have time on, although there is a substitution being made, incidentally, by Arsenal. Cedric is off. And Konashniak is now on. So they're still trying to get the ball out the main stand. And there's a little lad there that's actually handed the Arsenal player the ball there, Tierney. I don't think they want to give the ball back. I think that's a little bit unfortunate there. And the referee will be adding extra time on for that. That's time wasting in my book. Anyway, throw into Arsenal. Tierney's going to throw it in long by the looks of it here. Can Arsenal catch Forest out from the long throw? We've had a minute of the 3. Can Arsenal get an equaliser and force extra time? Boated away there by Jed Spence, who's had a terrific game, by the way. He would have been a sheriff for man of the match if it just been a solo commentary. But he certainly made some boundless running up and down that right-hand channel. He's done really well tonight. Still, Arsenal have it. We've got 90 seconds of the 3 to go. We play 90 seconds of the 3 to go. And I should also stress it's a minimum of, and they might be more at the end because of that bit of time wasting in the crowd. And Worrell now gets back, the man in the match, and hits it against an Arsenal player. The ball out of play. Throw to Arsenal. And We'll get Paul's views on it once the whistle goes, because it's going to be hair and scaring now for the next 70 seconds or more. It's going to be a long throw. Up comes Holding from the back. They may as well throw the kitchen sink at it now. Tierney with a long throw into the Forest penalty box. Header one, brilliant there by Ryan Yates, and then Forest get a free kick. There's 2 Forest players down, and the City ground has cheered down as if a goal's been scored, Paul. Brilliant.
Yes, it's they've just defended so well throughout the game of Nottingham Forest. They've really shut Arsenal down. They've reduced them to really one significant chance, which Nketiah didn't take. But that's the only chance that they've had that is what I would consider to be a significant chance. They've been absolutely excellent of Nottingham Forest today. They really deserve this.
Yeah, and not forgetting the Lacazette chance where if he'd had size 7 instead of size 6, boots on, he would have scored that as well. Ball back with Samba. We've got 15 seconds to go. We could have a major shock on. Arsenal, one of the favourites for the Cup. Dark horses to win the Cup considering their form in the Premier League. 4th in the table. Looks like being eliminated by 9th in the Championship. We've played 3 minutes. The referee will add on a little bit of time. Ball kicked away from the hands. Still we play on. The referee doesn't look as if he's going to blow the whistle for a few seconds. Now he has whistle to his mouth, or I think he was just leaning onto his earpiece somewhat. It's a throw into Arsenal. Seconds remain now. Seconds remain between Nottingham Forest and a major upset in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. We thought Cambridge winning at Newcastle yesterday was a great shock. This is going to top it now. Seconds remain. It's over, I think. Yes, it is. Steve Cooper done it. The ref goes for full time, and Nottingham Forest, of the 11th, 9th in the Championship, have only gone and done it again. 4 years ago they did it against Arsenal. Today it's Lewis Grabban, the hero. Arsenal are out of the FA Cup in the first hurdle. They join Burnley, Newcastle, Watford, amongst others, out of the FA Cup. It's Nottingham Forest who will play Leicester City here in the 4th round. And who's to say they couldn't do the same to them? What a terrific performance. Arsenal will have to lick their wounds and get themselves up for what was going to be a big League Cup semi-final on Wednesday against Liverpool in the Carabao. And that's a game they dare not lose. But Paul James, when you look at the final analysis and you look at the way the second half went, to a man, Forest just about deserved it. And credit goes to Steve Cooper.
Oh, they were amazing, especially in the second half. Even when they scored, they were not sitting back. They were not sitting back in the 18-yard box trying to defend and just hold on. They still went forward. They still played their game, and especially in the second half, they deserve this. What a wonderful performance by by Nottingham Forest.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a very cold night by the banks of the River Trent. But I tell you what, Trevor, what a shot upset we've got on our hands here. We're going to hand you back to the Walford Trevor Vision Centre. What I will say is, what a result for Nottingham Forest. They've only gone and done Arsenal again. 4 years ago, they beat them 4-2 in a dramatic game. This was just as dramatic. 1 goal was needed to settle it. Lewis Graham, the hero. But really, there was 11 heroes. The player of the match was Joe Worrell. What a performance. As we hand back to London with a final score here, Trevor. Amazing scenes here at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 1. Arsenal 0. The FA Cup, Trevor, is alive and kicking.
You know, they say logic goes out the window in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. Never more so than the game that you've just listened to us here this evening. A great result for Nottingham Forest. Harkens back to great moments of yesteryear. The City Ground here proving to be an atmosphere unlike anything else. As for Arsenal, a poor performance by them. Looked a tired and jaded side in the end. They are out of the FA Cup at the 3rd round as it was settled in. When you look at it, the goal scorer today, Lewis Grabban, who was the stand-in skipper in the end, brilliant, well-taken goal. Against the second half performance, which when you look on the balance of play, Nottingham Forest completely deserved that. But for Bert Leno, it could have been more. I'm going to bring in Mike Harneman, a big-time Arsenal fan, to get his views. And first of all, Mike, I want to ask you, let's talk about Nottingham Forest first. A great performance by them in the second half. What did they do to pick their game up against Arsenal in the second half?
So that's quite an interesting thing to ask, really. I think they started off that second half really bright, They were dominant. They were full of intent, full of sort of purpose as well. Getting the ball, moving forward and sort of really trying to create something there. And I think, we kind of potentially might have said it at half time in regards to them stopping Arsenal from playing our game. And it kind of allowed them to play their game in the second half. And, obviously at home as well, home advantage, attacking the Trent end as well, which of course is sort of known for the backing really of Nottingham Forest as well. Would have played a big part in that. But yeah, you sort of have to look at that, and they stopped us from playing our game, and then we're able to play their own game at the start of that second half, and just sort of carry that through.
And we've got to look at Steve Cooper's tactics, the way he set his side up today, and the way they continue to keep on playing their football. They had quite a good press, actually, which I think seemed to counteract Arsenal trying to play through the middle.
Yeah, I was a big fan of their press. I thought they pressed very, sort of high up the pitch, very, as I was saying, sort of purposeful, full of intent. And yeah, they were on the front foot really for most of that second half.
So I've got to ask this. I'm very sorry to do so, but what went wrong for Arsenal today?
I don't know really. It's one of those ones where you could look at the players that are missing, but I don't want to make excuses. That side that was out there still had enough quality, in my opinion, to beat Nottingham Forest. But the likes of Saka, Odegaard, also Martinelli as well. And even in that second half, weren't on the ball enough. Lacazette, come on, didn't have an impact. A lot of the players that Arsenal fans, sort of rave about, didn't have an impact on that game, and that's credit to the defence of Nottingham Forest and the way that they set up.
It was alluded to in commentary by our brilliant team. I think Paul and John did a fabulous job this evening. But I do want to make the point, how big a loss was Emil Smith-Rowe in the end for Arsenal this evening?
Absolutely huge. I think the way that he's been playing this season, I think he's been fantastic. He's been one of the standout players. So I think, even the fact he's normally come off the bench and have an impact was something that Mikel Arteta was lacking in terms of substitutes. Of course, he did go with Kolasinac at the end there. I'm not too sure what that was about, considering he's not really one of the players that has much game time at Arsenal, and is one of the players that will probably be one of the first out of the door. I thought that was a bit of a strange substitution, considering we still had options on the bench as well, especially the young striker Biref as well. To be fair, it doesn't matter how young you are. If you're good enough, as a lot of Arsenal coaching staff seem to think he is, then why not just throw him on? He's an extra attacker.
Is this a wake-up call for Mikel Arteta's side, or is this merely just a bump in the road?
I think it is a bit of a wake-up call. I think this Nottingham Forest side, as we said, deserved the place in the next round, and the East Midlands derby that they've now got as a reward against Leicester as well, which would be a cracking tie as well. But yeah, I do think it is more than a bump in the road. I think we missed a lot of players today. A lot of these players will probably still be missing for Liverpool in midweek, and there's a lot of them that will still be missing for next weekend against Tottenham, in the North London derby as well. So 2 massive games coming up this week, and it's all about sort of the key word now being how Arsenal bounce back. And this Nottingham Forest side are a very, very good side. They've performed very well in the league. They performed very well today, and it's all about how Arsenal can bounce back now with those 2. And in fact, the second leg coming up as well. 3 huge games coming up.
Mike, thank you very much. Confirmation for those just tuning in. Arsenal are out of the third round of the FA Cup. They've been beaten by Nottingham Forest 1-0 here at the City Ground. Lewis Grabenham's goal was the decisive factor, the goal arriving 8 minutes from the end of time. It's one of those nights where you'll look back if you're a Nottingham Forest fan and say, do you know what? I was there. As for the commentary hub and our coverage of the FA Cup, it continues tomorrow evening with the big one at Old Trafford. Manchester United are taking on Aston Villa. Steven Gerrard returning to Manchester United, former Liverpool man, taking his side on against a struggling Manchester United side. It's an Aston Villa side who have got Philip Coutinho. Will he play? You might have to tune in to the match to watch it with us. As for us tonight, thank you very much for everyone that's taken part. There's thanks to Rust as our producer. Thanks to Kieran, who's also contributed. We've also got Paul and John, our commentators, and Mike has given us his impassioned opinion and very gracious in the performance of Nottingham Forest. As for myself, well, I'm off to go jump in the car and drive 240 miles up the motorway to Old Trafford, where I'm going to get myself set for a brilliant game of football. That's right, I'm predicting it. You'll be joining me, won't you? As they say tonight in the City Grounds, life's about opportunities. You just have to grab them. From all of us on the Commentary Hub, thank you very much for watching, and good night.